And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Foy versus Bangura. Step forward.
Leslie Foy is suing her goddaughter, Monique Bangura, for damaging a car that was rented in her name.
Miss Bangura, who do you work for?
Accountancy Lane.
What is that?
It's an accounting business.
What do you do for them?
I'm a secretary.
How long have you been working for them?
For about 1 year.
When did you start working for them?
I don't remember the approximate date I started working.
You mean you don't remember the exact date?
Yes.
Not the approximate date.
Well,
the
thank
approximate
you for the correction. I appreciate it.
That's about 7 months ago.
Yes.
Prior to that, who did you work for?
NYU.
What is that?
A cancer center.
What did you do for them?
I was a receptionist as well.
And how long did you have that job?
For about 6 months. It was a temporary position.
And did you leave that job to go to the accounting firm?
Yes.
So that you've worked continuously over the last year?
I've always, yes.
And you are paid from both of those companies by check?
Of course.
Who did you live with during that period of time?
My boyfriend.
Did you pay rent?
No.
Did you have a car?
Yes.
What kind of car?
A Honda.
What happened to the car?
Well, we broke up, and he took back the car.
So it was his car?
Yes.
When you were working at these places where you received paychecks, how did you deposit the paychecks?
In the bank.
In your checking account?
Yes.
How long have you had that checking account?
About 3 to 4 years.
When you open up a checking account, you usually get either a debit card or a credit card. Why did you choose to get neither?
Because I just have bad spending habits. I love to shop, and that's the reason why I didn't.
I don't necessarily believe that.
Yes, if you've ever seen my closet,
I know
do shop
that's what
a
you're
lot.
telling me. I know what you're telling me, but I know that somebody who has a constant work history, who's paid by check, usually has, at least for emergencies, some sort of an emergency card in their wallet so that they could buy something if they absolutely needed it, either by way of a debit card or whatever. This is what this case is about.
Honestly,
I'm not speaking to you now.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Says her goddaughter, Monique Bangura, owes for damages to a car that was rented in her name.
Now, this is what the case is about. This is your goddaughter. According to you, she called you one day and said, I don't have a car. I want to run some errands. Could you please rent a car for me? I don't have a credit card, but just take care of it and I'll pay for it.
Yes.
You were foolish enough, and you did that.
Yes.
Because you filled out paperwork indicating who was going to be the driver.
Correct.
Who was
Me.
going?
I
you.
was, yes.
You didn't list any other driver.
No.
And when you listed yourself as a driver, they asked you for your driver's license.
Yes.
And you gave them your driver's license.
Yes.
Because what you did when you filled out the paperwork was you filled out the paperwork and said, I am going to be the only driver on this car, right?
Yes. Right.
Here is my driver's license.
Correct.
And then you went outside, and a little while later you turned the car over to your goddaughter,
Yes.
Miss Bangura, because that was your plan, to turn it over to her.
Yes.
That was the arrangement. You were going to turn it over to her, and according to you, you said to her, you have to go put your name on the contract.
Yes.
But when you filled out the contract indicating that you were going to be the only driver, that was a lie.
Yes.
Well, you think that we're going to help you? Courts are not going to help you. Because what happened is she kept the car a long time, and then she returned the car finally damaged.
Correct.
And she had not gone in and filled out the paperwork, had not put her name on the contract, had not shown them her license. And you know who enabled her to do that?
I did.
Correct. Did you pay the car company for the damage to the car?
Not yet, no.
Somebody's going to do it, but you don't get rewarded by courts for going into a reputable car dealership that tries to do the right thing, because as far as they know, she has no driving license.
Right.
She's had her license suspended. That's why they ask you, who's going to be driving the car? You have the contract?
Yes.
I want to take a look at it.
Judge, can I speak?
Listen to me. So far, you're a winner, so you don't have to say anything.
I just want to say
So
that-
far, you're a winner.
Okay.
You don't have to say anything.
Thank you.
That doesn't mean you did the right thing, because you put the fraud of knowing that the car was not going to be driven by the plaintiff. You asked her to get the car for you. Now, you could have, if you wanted to both do the right thing, you could have gone into the place together. Together. You were too busy.
I understand, but I told her to get insurance, and I gave her the money.
Just a second.
I'm talking.
No, you're not talking. I'm talking. My problem starts right at the beginning. When you conspired, the two of you.
We didn't conspire.
Yes, you did.
She called me. It was,
you don't
the
understand.
place was almost closing, and she said that she would
look
come
at me.
back.
Watch my mouth. No. Sorry, I'll meet you there in the morning.
You're right.
But you don't say, well, sure, I'll go over there and I'll fill out the paperwork quickly. That's conspiracy. You don't like the word, but that's what it is. You conspired with each other to go in and fill out this paperwork, because I can read you in every place where it says you're going to be the only driver.
Right.
And you knew that that wasn't true. They even ask you, I certify that the driver's license or licenses presented is currently valid and is not suspended, expired, revoked, canceled, or surrendered. They want to make very certain who's driving their car. That's why they ask you to look at it. Look at you, look at your license, see if it's the same picture. That's fraud. And I'm not helping you.
Okay.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.
Thank you.
All right, are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Stepp versus Pearson. Step forward.
Claudette Stepp is suing her sister, Denise Pearson, for painting and redecorating her bedroom without her permission.
This is your sister. You asked her to watch your dog when you were going away. She said she would watch your dog. She stayed at your house, and your $5,000 complaint is she redecorated your room, and
Without
you
my
hate it,
permission.
and you hate it. She redecorated your room.
Without my permission.
Don't look so pained.
I'm sorry.
Did she kill your dog?
No, but she
Just a
destroyed.
second. Did she kill your dog?
No, ma'am. She destroyed
she?
my house.
Did-
She had like a stoner party in there, and
Okay.
it looks ridiculous.
Okay. So you want her to be responsible to you for the tune of $5,000?
I didn't give her
because
permission.
I'm speaking.
Sorry.
Speaking.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Right now, she acknowledges that she didn't have permission. She says you really should have loved her work, and she's counterclaiming for her supplies that she used. Well, that's dismissed.
Thank you.
Now, show me the pictures of before and after in your house.
I
When
have
you
pic-
left, she'll listen to me carefully.
I'm sorry.
When you left
When I left.
and when you came home.
Okay, well, see, this is before she did all the damage she did. This is
Right.
one of my pictures. I took a picture of my dog, but that's before she did all the damage, and that is.
Right, so this is a picture of your room with your
Right.
little dog in the room.
Right.
Great. Now show me what the room looked like when she finished.
It had black lights. I had a. Sorry. She smokes some very great pot or something.
Black light is the black light she does. So what
you
you
do?
should, I'm speaking.
Sorry, ma'am.
Is that another picture you
Yes,
want me to
ma'am,
look
it is.
at?
Here you go. That was an antique nightstand right there. No, she destroyed. Yes, it was.
Well, listen to me. You don't have a picture of this before,
No.
do you?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Because what is here, you have this table covered with a cloth.
True, because
True. And I assume you covered the table with a cloth because if it was an antique, wonderful table, you would have exposed it so that you could have enjoyed. Speak.
yes, ma'am.
Not.
True, but
True.
it just matched my bedspread. That's why I had that.
Pine wood.
It's
to be painted. Did you paint a room with the peace sign? And that's your bedroom? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
right?
ma'am, look what
I'm
she did to my-
speaking 1, 2,
Okay.
3,
Yes,
4,
ma'am.
5, 6.
Sorry.
It's not show and tell. You're not 4. So your room has to be painted. What color was it before she painted it?
White.
Just a sec. Before she left you with the dog, did she tell you to paint her room?
She was.
No, that's either a yes
No.
or a no. Good. And you should be able to find somebody to do that for you for $500. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
When I got home, there was a big hook on the nightstand, and I figured, oh boy.
There was a hookah, but that's fruit. You could smoke fruit out of that.
I looked at my room. I couldn't believe it. It was like Woodstock nightmare.
It's not just pot or whatever they say.
Never gave her permission to get stoned and get high and paint my walls purple.
I thought I would surprise her with some love and peace.
See, I would be surprised and happy for, this is what I did for your birthday. I'm like,
Well, I thought I was going to surprise her after I realized, how much it hurt her. I guess I was wrong. I should have, asked her.
I didn't stay in the room. I stayed on the couch. I couldn't. It's like, oh my God, it's horrible.
But I truly meant to do it for her birthday and be a surprise.
We are not talking for a while.
Well, right now we're not talking. She actually kicked me out of the house and for her dog. I miss her dog. That's about it.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pierce versus Perotti. Step forward.
Linda Pierce is suing her neighbor, Mark Perotti, for money owed for a car and harassment.
Miss Pierce, the defendant is your neighbor. You've been living in your house for how long?
Over 8 years.
And you just moved into the neighborhood,
Yes,
is that
ma'am.
right, sir? Did you buy or rent the house?
We're in the process of him working out an agreement to lease to buy.
So right now you're renting?
Renting, yes, ma'am.
Do you rent or own your home?
I own.
When did you move in, Mr. Perotti?
February 8th of this year.
Who moved into the house with you?
My 2 boys.
And who do you live with, Ms. Pierce?
Myself and my dogs.
This is what the case is about. According to you, the defendant owes you for a car that you sold to him for $5,000. You
No,
also
$500.
$500, excuse me. And you also claim that he has harassed you to the tune of $4,500 because you're suing him for $5,000. Mr. Perotti says that you gave him the car, that from the time he moved into the house, you've been a neighbor from hell, despite the fact that she gave you a car. She's been a neighbor from hell, and that he is counterclaiming for $2,000 for filing a false restraining order against him. So you moved in on February 8th, Mr. Perotti. When did she start to become a neighbor from hell?
Before I unloaded the U-Haul truck, she came over to inform me that the 2 properties where her fence stops, there's a mound of dirt that carries out 6 feet. She advised me that I was not allowed to park on that. People that came to my house were allowed to drive on it.
Just a second. So there was a piece of property that was her property.
She's claiming part of my property is her property. It's kind of confusing.
No, it's very confusing. You're allowed to park on your property.
Yes, ma'am.
Were either you or your guests parking any part on her property?
No.
Is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
You have a photograph?
Yes. My house is built on a berm, and I have a fence that's built up on the berm, and he was...
I'd like to see it.
Okay. He was parking on my berm, which is tearing down the dirt, and then I have a fence up there on the berm. And once the dirt would be...
Is this your fence?
Well, he put that up to keep people from going onto my berm.
Okay, so he put it up to accommodate you.
Yes.
Fine.
But
so you registered a complaint with your new neighbor not to park or have his friends park on your property. And he accommodated you by putting up a fence on his property.
No, that's my fence. Oh, that little picket fence. Yes, he did put that up.
Great, so then everything was resolved. Now get to the car.
Okay, well, his car broke down. He was parking on that part of the dirt, and his car broke down, and he was in a rage because he had no car and 2 children.
Just a minute, when was that?
In February.
So the same month he moved in? Before or after he put up this little fence?
Before.
Okay, so before you had the discussion that resulted in the fence. And?
So he was parking on my berm. I asked him not to park there. He didn't stop, and then he finally said his car was broken down. So I said, maybe I can help you. I have a car that I'm not using. Why don't you check it out, and I will sell it to you very inexpensively. So he checked it out. He said he wanted it. He said he would pay me $500, and then I said, fill out a notice of transfer of liability because I don't want any financial problems, and then just pay me by about April 15th. And he said he would do that. And I have the transfer of liability written right here in his own handwriting that he would pay me $500.
I'd like to see it. It says $500.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you wrote this out?
Yes, we wrote the $500 because we didn't want to do it as a gift. There's no agreement there to pay her $500, though.
Yes, there is. They said that's the selling price was $500.
Oh, yeah, we stated $500 for DMV for tax purposes. We didn't want to do it as a gift because we didn't know how that worked. So she
Don't
said,
say we.
Just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Where's the car?
I have the car.
Give it back. Oh, yes, you can. All you have to do is sign over the title. And then if there was a misunderstanding about the $500, then there's no more misunderstanding. No harm, no foul.
Linda Pierce says her neighbor, Mark Perotti, owes for a car she sold him and harassment. Mark is countersuing for a false restraining order and harassment.
Okay, where's the car?
I have the car.
Give it back.
Well, it's already registered in my name.
I don't care. Give it back. You don't want?
I can't.
Oh, yes, you can.
I have it.
Listen to me.
Yes.
Listen to me. All you have to do is sign over the title. And then if there was a misunderstanding about the $500, then there's no more misunderstanding. No harm, no foul. She gets the car back, and you're in no worse place than you were before.
Can I go back for 1 second?
You can do whatever you like.
Okay, when she gave me the car, at that point I had money.
I mean, the reason I'm questioning you like this, sir, is because the first sentence of your countersuit is, ever since I moved into my home, Linda has made life a living hell for me and my children.
Right.
And that doesn't sound like somebody who would give you a car.
No, we started off okay.
No, but that's not what you say here. You said, ever since I moved into my home, Linda has made life a living hell for me and my children.
She gave me the car the day we had a major argument. We had a major argument. She came over and talked to me nice and calm. We both calmed down is when she offered me the car.
She had a major argument about what?
About parking on her berm. That was when we had the big argument. But that's when she offered me the vehicle. I parked only on her berm because I had no reverse on my transmission. And so we had worked it out. She said, I'll give you the car. I'm not using it. I said, wow. I was blown away. I thought it was the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me.
Right. And so now you're suing her for thousands of dollars for harassing you.
Right now, I have a disabled child in the emergency room with a broken leg while I'm here at court.
Listen to me, sir.
Yes.
You have your choice. You want to pay her the $500 or sign the title to the car over to her. Those are your choices. She says she sold it to this neighbor who owes you nothing, who was fighting with you about a whole bunch of things because she's got a lot of other complaints.
Oh, yeah.
She's after this happened. And I don't know what else there is. I don't know what the social aspect there is to this case. And I don't care.
Yes.
Make it very simple. You want to turn the car back to her or pay her the $500?
I'm not giving her back the car. I can't give her back the car. It's the only vehicle I have.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500 for the car. Now you tell me what the other $4,500 is for.
Well, it was actually $2,000 for the car, and then
not $2,000 for the car. That's not what you say you sold it for.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Go ahead.
So it was for all these harassing things he did to me.
Did you file a police report with regard to any of that?
I have several of those.
The harassment. I would like to see
several
them.
police reports.
I'd like to see
filed,
them.
And some of them they will take, and some of them they won't take. Because
I don't care.
I have all the dispositions.
Oh, it sounds like there's been back and forth, protective orders, violations of protective orders. How many dogs do you have?
4.
You filed for protective order. Was that granted?
No, it was dismissed because he wasn't, they said because I didn't
Don't tell me because
prove.
what they said. It was dismissed.
Yeah.
Was it dismissed after a hearing or before a hearing?
After.
After a hearing. And did you testify at the hearing?
Yes.
And did Mr. Perotti testify at the hearing? We're done with your case. You have a counterclaim.
Yes,
I'll hear it.
The case is I've lost work. I've lost people that have come to my home and been yelled at by her. Right now I take care of my son. That's what I'm paid to do.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. We're finished.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
A 68-year-old woman lie like Linda lies.
It's been a living nightmare. I have the neighbor from hell.
She gave me the car. We had an argument. She wanted the car back. I said no. That's all it is.
It's a terrible, terrible situation. I've been there 8 years, and he's been there a couple of months.
Oh, we're going separate ways. There's no doubt.
I hope we can leave each other alone, and we can just live our own lives.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Fawcett versus Gutierrez. Step forward.
Matthew and Dawn Fawcett are suing Caleb Gutierrez for money owed for a truck.
Bird, would you do me a favor? I don't know if our books go back this far. I'd like you to look up a 1983 Chevy Silverado and tell me what the blue book value of that car is while I'm inquiring. This is what the lawsuit is about. Mr. and Mrs. Fawcett, it is your claim that you hired the defendant to redo a kitchen project for you. In addition, you say that you sold him a 1983 Chevy Silverado for $3,000.
We didn't sell it to him. It was part of our payment to Caleb for the kitchen job, plus we added cash in on top of that.
So you were doing some barter.
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to find out how much the truck is worth.
$8,450.
$8,000?
$8,450.
1983 Chevy Silverado? No, impossible.
It had some stuff done to it. It was
I don't
lower.
care what it had onto it. I don't care if it sang Happy Birthday in Mandarin.
They're very sought after now to be customized and lowered, which
I don't
it was.
care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why would they sell you and give you the title to a very expensive car before you paid for it by doing the work you were supposed to do? So they were trusting people. So why would they all of a sudden start to threaten you and your wife?
I love
Dawn Fawcett claim Caleb Gutierrez owes for a truck.
Bert, I have to see it. I mean, we're talking about a 24-year-old. I'm looking for a Chevy Silverado. And where does this say Silverado here?
This is Silverado.
Let's see, Silverado package. I find that absolutely astounding. Did you know that that car was worth $84.50?
I did not, and I don't believe it is.
Well, I'm looking here, so I am going to show you what it says in this Kelley Blue Book. Would you show him what it says? I mean, I actually was amazed, Mr. Gutierrez.
Yeah, I suppose that would be if it's in excellent condition, which I doubt.
Even if it's in lousy condition, it's worth more than $1,200, right?
Could be, yes.
Not could be. So let's say they gave you a truck that's worth $6,000, and what you paid them was $1,250.
Yeah.
So they were expecting you to do another $4,000 worth of work. Let's say we take that figure, and I'm giving you the benefit of every doubt.
Yeah.
Did you do $4,000 worth of work for them?
Not completed, no. But the original job, the original estimate was for $4,700.
No.
I want to know what you did for them.
Well, we refaced the cabinets, is what it started out as. Ended up
I want to know not what it started out as. I want to know what you did for them. You got a $6,000, and that's giving you a great deal. $6,000 car for $1,250, which is what you gave them, which means I want to see you doing $4,350 worth of work.
Okay.
Did you do $4,300 worth of work?
They wouldn't let me complete the job, so no.
Oh.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
It's hard to get all the daily fiber we need from food alone. That's why I love Fiber Choice. With the fiber found in many fruits and vegetables. Fiber Choice, the #1 GE recommended to...
Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, they're only suing you for $3,500.
I didn't believe they thought the truck was worth that much either. I still
Well,
don't
you
see
think
how it would be.
You don't think it is? I don't think it is, but that's what the book says it is.
The fair price in there was, I think, $1,450, it said.
No. What's the fair price? I think he made a mistake there.
Maybe I was looking at the wrong one, but
I think you were. I think that the Silverado package added 10% onto the long bed truck.
Okay.
What's the fair price?
$42.25.
$42.25. That's in fair condition. There's excellent, there's good, there's fair. Right? You still driving the truck?
No.
What happened to it?
Well...
What happened to the truck?
The tires are flat, and I don't drive it.
Well, now you know how valuable it is. Maybe you'll drive it.
True.
Any excuse why you didn't finish the job?
They just made it hard to go in there and work.
Explain to me how they made it hard.
They started threatening me, threatening my wife.
Just a second. Why would they sell you and give you the title to a very expensive car before you paid for it by doing the work you were supposed to do? So they were trusting people, right? So why would they all of a sudden start to threaten you and your wife?
Because we just had, the job was taking longer than we expected.
Than you expected.
Both of us.
Than you expected.
Okay.
You owe them $3,500. That's what they're suing for. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
First Judge Judy, and then step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Wife into this when she had nothing to do with it, harassing me with phone calls and texts all day long.
Well, you know, when he says harass and threaten, I had to show up to his place of business, which is his home.
They did some sort of a check. They found out where I lived, showed up at my house.
I never entered his property. I stayed in my truck in the road, called him, and he came out. So I don't know what he's talking about.
You know, it was just difficult to work for them.
Obviously, we've learned you never trust people and don't pay them up front
Money up front.
for a job before they finish it.
Not always right.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of McDonald versus McDonald. Step forward.
25-year-old Chelsea McDonald is suing her sister, 22-year-old Jordan McDonald, for an unpaid loan.
Miss McDonald, this is your sister, and it is your claim she owes you some money. Money
ma'am.
that she put on a credit card that you allowed her to use, that she said she would repay. As soon as she got a job, she's got a job, she hasn't paid you back. That's what the case is about.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you support yourself?
I was working full-time at Citibank, and I was actually laid off.
When?
I was laid off in June.
June of this year?
Of 2016. I enrolled back into school, and I am working part-time for a cleaning company now.
Who do you live with?
Myself.
And how old are you?
I'm 25.
And how do you support yourself?
I did not owe the plaintiff anything.
Judge, I didn't ask you that question. I want you to use your listening ears. How do you support yourself?
My name's Jordan. I work for...
What?
I work for Tri-Health. I am currently living with my mom right now.
That's not what Miss McDonald, I got that your sister is 25 years old. She lost her job with Citibank in June. What she does to support herself is she works for a cleaning company part-time. Am I correct?
Yes.
I asked you how you supported yourself.
I work part-time with Tri-Health.
Part-time with Tri-Health. What do you do for them?
I register patients in the ER.
How many hours a week do you work?
It varies. Typically I work probably about 25 hours a week. I get paid bi-weekly, so about 50 hours pay period.
Does your mother work?
Yes, she works full-time.
And how old is she?
She is 54.
And how old are you?
I'm 22.
Okay, so we have a 22-year-old and a 25-year-old who work part-time, and we have their mother who's 54 who works full-time. Sounds right. Sounds like the direction of the country.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you still have a car?
No, no longer.
What happened to the car?
I no longer drive, so I went ahead and canceled my insurance and decided to go ahead and get rid of the car, and I take the bus to and from work.
Ma'am.
Chelsea McDonald says her sister, Jordan McDonald, owes for a loan to fight her DUI.
Now, when did you get a DUI?
Back in February 2016. It was February 21st, the day before my birthday.
And your sister gave you a credit card in order to put you had to pay legal fees?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And when she gave you the credit card, did it have a zero balance? Well, she has the records. So when you had this conversation with her about your need to hire a lawyer and to get this case going, and she gave you the credit card, did she tell you it had a zero balance?
That's what she told me, yes.
And you took it, the credit card?
As a gift.
Just a sec, just answer my questions. You took it, correct?
Yep, I sure did.
So I assume you believed her when she said it had a zero balance.
I did.
Well, if someone is making you a gift, why would that be an important thing for her to tell you that it had a zero balance? If she was making you a gift of this credit card, what difference does it make if it had a zero balance or if she already had $10,000 on it? Can you think of a reason she might say, no, it has a zero balance, so whatever you put on the card is going to be your responsibility when you get a job?
Well, as my sister, I assumed I could trust her.
You assume you could trust her?
I assume
That's what
so.
she assumed. She assumed she could trust you. And at the time, your sister and your mother were living with you.
Yes.
Then you had an argument. And the argument was about a car that your sister had borrowed that belonged to you?
Yes.
That she damaged?
Correct.
When was that?
This was late July of 2016.
How did you damage the car?
I was putting gas into it, and I drove it back to the house, and next thing I know it, she's blaming me for damages, and I did not wreck the car at all.
You were putting gas in it for whom?
Because I borrowed the car from her.
Where did you take it?
I believe I went to Kroger's to cash my check.
And?
Stopped at the gas station to put gas back into the car, and I went straight home.
What happened with the car? She wouldn't know the truth if it came up and slapped her in the face.
I let her borrow the car to make some errands. She went to the gas station up the street from her house to put gas in for what she used. She was watching my backup camera that I have on my dashboard, and she wasn't watching the front end of the car, and she hit a rail or a pole by the gas station that protects the gas pumps.
And there was a scratch on the car or something?
It was dented, the whole side of it, the fender.
Now, when she came home from putting gas in the car, what did she say to you?
She didn't say anything at first. She walked in with a paint kit that she purchased from Walmart to try to patch up.
Oh, so she went to try to fix the car?
Yes.
And try to match the paint?
Correct.
At Walmart?
Yes.
You remember that?
I did not.
Too much booze.
A little bit too much.
When she walked in, I asked her what this was. I text her first and said, "Where are you? You've been gone for a while." She says, "I have a surprise for you." That was my surprise. Was my car.
So then you had a fight, whatever.
Yes.
Okay, and that's why how much did she use on your credit card?
She used a total of $2,105.49 is what I'm currently
seeing her. May I see it, please?
Everything has been highlighted.
Joel is the lawyer that you used?
Yes, Your Honor.
And there are some miscellaneous charges that I allowed her to charge on the account to help her get by when she was in between jobs.
What's PNC Bank?
There, ma'am, I had to take a cash advance to pay off a title loan that she took against her car. I had to pay it in cash or a cashier's check.
A title loan she took against her car?
Yes, at that time she did have a car. She was having some issues before her DUI, so she took a loan to help herself out. You know, she didn't tell myself.
Do you remember taking out a car loan against your car?
Yes.
Who paid for it?
She did, as a gift.
Grow up.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Paid a lot of money to Mr. Was he successful in dealing with your DUI?
Yes, I no longer have a DUI on my record.
Did you plead guilty to the DUI?
No.
So it was a good thing that your sister gave you this card and you had Mr. It was a good thing, right? Do you still have a car?
No, no longer.
What happened to the car that you had that she paid off the title loan on?
I no longer drive. I was on suspension during that time, so I went ahead and canceled my insurance, and I no longer decided to go ahead and get rid of the car, and I take the bus to and from work.
Ma'am. She got caught driving under suspension.
What?
She got caught driving under suspension. They impounded the car. I was going to help her get it out, and I decided not to.
You don't have to deal with her. Let your mother deal with her.
Yes.
$2,105.49.
I have evidence right here that shows that it was a gift. I think it's
$2,105.49. Judgment for the plaintiff.
It shows right here that
we're done.
Whatever. Don't worry about the credit card bill. You owe me. I will pay it.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The plaintiff any money.
I did not give that to her as a gift.
It's typical family problems is all I have to say about that.
I've helped her out for so long, and I finally cut her off, and I also cut my mom off.
I hope that I never see her again.
I have to just accept it and move on with my life and continue to do what I do every day.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Larkin versus Nelson. Step forward.
Brady Larkin is suing James Nelson for car damage as the result of lacquer overspray.
Mr. Larkin, you maintain a storage unit in which you keep motorcycles and some other vehicles because you're a collector.
Mm-hmm.
How many vehicles do you have?
370 El Caminos and then...
Three what?
1970 El Caminos and then 2 Harley Davidsons.
Okay. Do you have pictures of the cars?
I do.
I'd like to see them. And the storage unit, I assume, is a big one.
About 1,000 square feet.
Your claim is that Mr. Nelson was negligent in spraying some things that he had in his storage unit, which is in the same vicinity as yours. And because he was careless, gunk got on your car, cars or vehicles. When did you notice that these cars had gunk on them?
When I removed them from storage in the spring of 2016.
Give me the month.
April, I believe it was.
And prior to that, when had you seen the cars?
I've been in my unit a couple times over the winter, but
okay, well, give me prior to April of 2016. When did you see the cars?
I would suppose I stopped in there every month or so. I was in the same building at another unit that my business was in.
So you saw them a month before?
Right, but I didn't physically, take them out, wash them, and notice the damage.
So you don't know when this damage took place?
Sometime over the wintertime.
Which is a long period of time. Okay, what is this a picture of?
That is the wall between Jim's unit and my unit. Shows that the previous tenant tried to seal up said leaks, I guess, which obviously wasn't done correctly.
What leaks?
Well, the building is not the best construction. It's kind of a little lower income.
So could you describe this gunk that you found in April?
It's overspray. And, my witness can explain overspray a little better than I can. And
well, I would like to hear what that is.
Okay. Mike, and then
overspray. Tell me what your name is.
Mike Warner from Fargo Moorhead Custom and Collision. I have my own body shop. I've been doing paint work for about 40 years, 35 years. Overspray is a product from the air pressure in the gun turning the liquid into a spray form mist, and it can get in any cracks like a gas. So any adjacent rooms, if you don't have proper ventilation, the overspray can fall on it, but it's paint, so when it dries, it doesn't come off so easy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you buff it, it does come off.
Yes. Sometimes you got to work harder than others, depending on how thick it is.
So, sometimes I work harder, sometimes you work harder, sometimes a fix is easy, sometimes you're sweating over it.
Judy Larkin says James Nelson owes for car damage as the result of lacquer overspray.
Go ahead.
There's two ways to take it off. Either buff it with a machine or chemical, and chemicals can obviously wreck some stuff.
When you buff it with a machine,
yes,
it does come off.
Yes. Sometimes you got to work harder than others, depending on how thick it is.
So, sometimes I work harder, sometimes you work harder, sometimes a fix is easy, sometimes you're sweating over it. Now, what were you spraying, Mr. Nelson?
I sprayed, during the period of time that he had his vehicles in there, black paint, gray primer, white paint, gray primer, and green.
Were you supposed to be doing any spraying in the unit?
Sure. Been doing it for 14 years.
In that unit?
Yes.
And how long had your vehicles been in that unit?
From about late September, early October of 2015 until April of 2016.
So this was the first year that your cars were there?
Correct. And I was told that he was no longer spraying in his unit.
You can't tell me what you were told, sir.
Well, he was shut down.
Okay, but he had been doing it for 14 years.
He admits to it in writing that he was.
I'd like to see it.
That he was shut down.
No, I believe he was shut down. It doesn't mean he hadn't been doing it for 14 years.
Oh, for sure. All right.
Yeah. Do you have any pictures where I could see actually what this gunk looks like on your car?
I have a video that you could watch, Your Honor. You might have to turn the volume up.
Typically, overspray would only land on the upper parts because it would fall down here, but this is what normal paint feels like. Smooth. This is overspray. I mean, clearly you can feel and see the difference and hear it.
Did you buff off the overspray?
Not yet, no.
But you're going to?
Yes, well, we'd like to eventually, yes.
Mr. Nelson, you've used this storage unit for 14 years. And you've been spraying things in there for 14. Did you do that for a living?
Yes. I sprayed cabinets with a clear lacquer up until the spring before he came in there.
And had anyone been in the unit that he just started to rent?
Always.
And do you know what was stored in those units?
They're not so much storage, they're workshops. And what he's complaining about on his cars is a clear lacquer, which I used to spray a lot of. And I didn't spray a drop of any clear substance during that time.
You should start buffing off his cars. He's not getting $4,500 from the defendant. You have to show Mr. Larkin that somehow the defendant was negligent in what he was doing, which he had done for 14 years.
Oh, he was negligent?
You have to show somehow that he was negligent in doing what he did for me to be satisfied that he's responsible to pay you.
Well, he states in there that he sprayed in that time frame, and there's nobody else in the building that sprays it.
I didn't spray any clear lacquer.
Just a second. Do you rent the shed or do you own it?
We rent.
They rent just like he rents, just like you do.
Correct, but he was shut down and told not to spray in that unit.
Before this happened?
Before this happened.
Oh.
Yes, that's the
just a second. Well,
foreign
that's
movement vehicles in there.
That's interesting.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsor JudyJudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. When did the fire department shut you down, Mr. Nelson?
May, June of 2015. But they didn't shut me down. They just said not to spray in there because of...
Just a second. If you were told not to spray in May or June of 2015... Did I get it?
You did.
Bingo.
If you were told not to spray in May or June of 2015 by the fire department, then you have a problem.
I quit spraying.
Mr. Nelson, I don't believe that. Somehow this happened. Okay.
Ma'am?
Mike,
Yes.
let's you and I have a discussion.
Sure.
Doesn't cost $5,000 to take a buffer and buff out.
No, it costs
cars.
about $400 per vehicle.
Yes.
The bike's a little bit more. One motorcycle is a big, they call them baggers, and it's flat matte black. So there's no way to buff it off of that. You can't take chemicals off it. It'll ruin the finish. It'll shine it up. That's why the repaint is $2,000 on the one. And then to take the motorcycle apart is another estimate, I believe, from Pure Performance. But because the one bike has to be repainted to duplicate
And are you
finish.
going to do that?
Yes, if we get this settled, yeah.
The others can be buffed off.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Nelson, there's no question that you, in violation of what you were told by the fire department, sprayed after the time that you were told not to spray, and that's what was on his vehicles. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,600. We're finished. Thank you.
He doesn't have any green paint on his car.
Bodies are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
On his cars, and I painted green paint.
Doing it too long with no ventilation, I think.
They were so dirty that I couldn't see anything.
They're my prized possessions.
So I quit spraying lacquer. I never sprayed a drop after that.
Check on your stuff a little more and see what your neighbor's up to.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Olarte versus Westerfield. Step forward.
Lorena Olarte is suing her brother, Larry Westerfield II, for a loan to have his teeth fixed.
Miss Olarte, this is your brother.
Yes.
And it is your claim that you made a loan to him?
Yes.
For some dental work. And your brother says that while he acknowledges that you paid this dental bill for him or opened up a line of credit for him, it was a gift. That was never an intention of him repaying you. And I gather from reading the papers that your mouth was in pretty bad shape.
Yes, I probably only had 8 teeth left on top. They were black and flat to the gums, and every one of them were abscessed.
Hurt.
What's that?
You had pain.
Oh, that would be an understatement.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Someone came in and said, this is how much it's going to be to pull all the teeth and then give him dentures. And I looked at him and said, that's too much. And he looked at me, my brother did, and said, please, please do this for me. And he just kept begging me.
Olarte says her brother, Larry Westerfield II, owes for a loan for dental work.
Now, how old are you, Mr. Westerfield?
43.
How do you support yourself?
I'm an electrician now, and I wasn't working at the time, though.
Who do you live with?
Our mother.
Have you always lived with your mother?
No, I was married for a long time, and I probably moved back about 1.5 years ago. She started getting bad with pacemakers and heart attacks and stuff. I caregive for her. But I've lived other places, and I just recently moved back with her.
And how old are you, Mr. Olarte?
42.
How do you support yourself?
Right now, I'm a student, and I just lost my job in August. I get alimony and child support, and I'm looking for a job in the same line of work.
What kind of work had you been doing?
I worked with people with developmental disabilities out in the community, acclimating them to the community and helping them.
When did you make this loan to your brother for the dental work?
It was on April 6th was the dentist appointment.
Of?
2016, I'm sorry.
And at that time, your sister was or was not working?
I'm not positive, to be honest with you. We don't communicate a lot.
Well, someone communicated with her with regard to your teeth.
Oh, yeah, yes. My mother keeps in contact with everybody all the time. She's on the phone constantly.
So was it your mother who told you about
No.
this?
He came to see me in February.
So far correct?
Yes.
There's a cheap airline that flies, and I found a really good deal. So I paid for him to come up to visit. And when I saw his mouth is when he told me about it, and he said he couldn't work because of the pain. So if he could get his mouth fixed, he would be able to go right back to work. So I flew down in April and took him to the dentist, and the dentist just said it was the worst he'd ever seen and said this is what needed to be done. He needed all his teeth pulled.
But at that point, he had no money.
He had no job at that point, no.
So he had no job, no money, certainly no insurance that would cover the dental
No.
work. Did you have the cash to pay for the...
No, I had to get a Care Credit One card to pay for it.
Were you working at the time?
Yes, at the time I was working.
Well, when you went to the dentist with him, tell me the conversation that you had with your brother in the dentist's office.
Well, what happened is the dentist looked at him, and then someone came in and said, this is how much it's going to be to pull all the teeth and then give him dentures. And I looked at him and said, that's too much. I thought the dentist would let him make payments directly to the dentist. He said, we don't work like that. And I said, okay. And he looked at me, my brother did, and said, please, please, please do this for me. And I said, Larry, I can't make these payments. I still don't make a lot of money, even at the job I have. I said, I can't do it. And he's like, well, if I get fixed, I can go right back to work as soon as I'm healed. And he just kept begging me. And I said, finally, okay, Larry, but you have to promise me you make the payments. I'll make the first one for you because I know I said, you'll get the job. I'll make the first one, you heal, and then you start making them. And he said, I swear, Lori, I swear, I swear. And
so what happened, Mr. Westerfield?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
All you have to do is take care of yourself.
I'm also a caregiver for a mother.
Well, unfortunately, that's very nice of you, but not something that you're required to do. You're required to take care of yourself, and you're required to take care of your children. Neither one of those things have you done.
Says her brother, Larry Westerfield II, owes for a loan for dental work.
Now, you got your teeth. Did you go back to work?
Yeah, but it was about 2 months later because for the first month I was in pain.
Okay, so you went back to work 2 months later. So did you start to make the payments in June?
I have given her money, but...
No. Did you start to make the payments in June?
As soon as I got money, I gave her money.
You gave her? Okay, how much did you give her and when?
I don't even know. Very small amounts. I don't make a lot of money.
How much do you make? You live with your mother.
Well, yeah, but the company I work for isn't doing a lot of work right now. So I'm talking like there were some weeks it was like a 5-hour paycheck. So I think I sent $50 the first time or something.
Well, let me ask you this question, Mr. Westerfield. You have children from your marriage?
Yes.
How many?
2 of them.
How old are they?
19 and 23.
Are there any outstanding orders for child support?
I owe arrears from 2008.
So you haven't paid child support since 2008?
Oh, no. I paid. I just owed. There was like an 8-month period I didn't work because the economy collapsed. So I owed that 8 months.
So how much do you owe?
$10,000 or something like that.
And do you get a paycheck or a 1099?
I get a paycheck.
What was your paycheck last week?
I think it was $420.
How much did you give your sister?
None.
Why?
We got hit by a hurricane, and we needed money for food and water and stuff. I don't even know if we have power right now, actually, to be honest with you.
Well, all the money in the world isn't going to get your power.
Well, true. They were taking cash at the store, though. They couldn't pump gas or anything, though, obviously. There's no electricity. There's trees down, power lines down. We were literally ground zero.
What was your paycheck the week before?
I think it was $212 or something like that.
How much did you give to your sister? Nothing. Okay. What's the balance left?
The balance now is, because I've been making every payment every month.
Just tell me what's left.
What's left? $33.86 is the last one I have.
May I see it, please?
All of them or just
the last one?
The last one I have. I'm sorry, I must have left them. This is the last bill I have with me. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the last bill.
When was the last time you gave your sister money?
It had to be about 3-4 weeks, maybe even longer.
Just say 4 weeks. How much did you give her?
I think it was $80.
You remember that?
No, the payment I have is on July 15th, $140. I have a copy of the money order.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There's a new sheriff in town, actually.
Follow us on Twitter.
Now, Mr. Westerfield, you and your sister are about the same age.
Yeah.
She has children. You have grown children for whom you have at least told me that you bear no financial responsibility. So all you have to do is take care of yourself.
I'm also a caregiver for our mother, too.
Well, unfortunately, that's very nice of you. That's very nice of you, but not something that you're required to do. You're required to take care of yourself, and you're required to take care of your children.
Yes.
Neither one of those things have you done. Because if you're $10,000 in arrears in child support and your sister paid for your teeth, you're not doing minimally what you're supposed to do, which is to take care of yourself and the children you bring into the world. And if you're 43 and your sister's 42, your mother's not ancient. You owe your sister $35.47. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Thank you.
Pardon, excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, exactly. But see, that's just it. I thought it was a gift.
He owed the money. It wasn't a gift. I don't know where that came from.
I mean, considering I take care of the mom, because if I don't take care of her, who's going to?
I'm a single mother. I lost my job, and I can't keep paying it.
We don't talk at all anymore. She yells at my mother. None of us talk none of us talk anymore, pretty much.
I do love my brother, and I worry about him.
I hope we can start talking again, to be honest with you.
If it's an emergency and it's health-related, you have to do it.
And I hope she starts talking to her mother, because her mother misses her.
You just hope they appreciate it and pay you back.
Yeah, I love her.
I love you. Me too. Still owed me the money.
Been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
All right, Mr. Fabrovsky, it is your claim that the defendant kicked your car.
Correct.
You want him to be responsible for the damage to your car.
Correct.
Mr. Spencer says he did in fact kick your car, and he did that in order to protect both himself and his girlfriend. I'm going to start with you. There was some difficulty that you had with the defendant because you heard some rumors that you thought he was spreading about you?
Correct.
How long do you know each other?
Since diapers, Your Honor.
What rumors had you heard that he was spreading around about you?
Just rumors to my girlfriend saying that I am no good to her, and just around town saying that I'm a known drug addict and I'm just not a good person. And
that you're not a good person?
Exactly.
And you had heard those things for about how long?
I'd say 2 weeks before.
2 weeks before what date?
The 9th of June, 2013.
Now, I want you to tell me what happened on June 9th.
On June 9th, I had just finished my meal about 6 o'clock at Country Cafe, a local restaurant.
Who were you with?
I was by myself, Your Honor. My witness was the chef at the restaurant. I had finished my meal, and I had proceeded to exit the restaurant when I noticed the defendant and his girlfriend were walking in. Figured it'd be a good time to just leave. As I went to get in my car and leave, parked by the exit was the defendant's girlfriend's car with probably 4 people around it, not either of them. So I kind of just sat in my car for a minute to see if they were going to leave. I didn't really want to.
Why?
Because I knew that he had a problem with me. I didn't want a confrontation.
Well, he was in the restaurant.
I know, but from what I could see, it looked like he had people kind of waiting around. He knows my car. It seemed like they were waiting to see if I was leaving.
Well, you were leaving. You were in your car.
Yes.
And they were in the restaurant.
And they were in the restaurant.
And there were people standing around her car.
Exactly, who I wasn't trying to have any episode with.
Well, so you just get in your car and you leave.
Yes, I mean, it's a very small parking lot. It's not...
All right, so come on.
So I go to leave. I figure just get out of there. And as I go, the defendant, Randy, starts coming out of the restaurant. And, you know, I just said, whatever. I put him out my window and I said, Randy, what's the deal with all the rumors? What's going on? And at that point, Randy found it necessary to try to reach in my window and hit me. And then he started spitting in my car, telling me to get out of the car, telling me to fight me right there, telling me, let's settle this. Told him it's not necessary. I'm by myself. You know, I'm not going to get out of the car with you and all these people. I mean, it's stupid. So I rolled up my windows. I called 911. I told the police I have a person outside abusing my car. And
well, he's not doing anything to your car right now.
Well, he's spitting in it, ma'am.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
then he tries to open my door, and I lock my car, put the windows up, and then he kicks my door. So now he's kicking my door, and his girlfriend knows that something's going on. She runs out of the restaurant. She sees him. Randy, he's calling the cops. He's calling the cops. So then they all get in the car, and they book it. And I actually followed them for a little bit so I could give the police the license plate number. And from there, I went to the police station, and I had the sheriff's department come down. I pressed charges. They took pictures of the car.
Can I see your police report?
Yes, you can.
Now, this happened in the restaurant parking lot.
It did.
Did the police press charges against Mr. Spencer?
We did, and I believe it was malicious destruction of property over $250. The court date did come out, and I had a tragic family accident, and I was unable to make it. And I actually...
So the case was dismissed?
So the case was dismissed.
Did you witness any of this?
I witnessed the whole thing.
Just stand there. Your version.
All right, we got to Country Cafe, Country Convenience. I was inside. I saw the plaintiff, Cody, leave and go into his car. But he waited for me to go outside. Me and...
Well, he went to go outside.
When I went outside...
Shh. Slowly. You came in.
Yes.
He left.
Not the parking lot. He left.
He left the store.
Yes.
Where was girlfriend?
She was with me.
So you and your girlfriend came into the store.
Yes.
He left the store.
Yes.
And let's go very slowly.
We proceeded to buy what we needed to buy.
What did you buy?
I was buying snacks for my pregnant girlfriend.
I see she's pregnant.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
A gold star for you.
All right.
You figured out that it worked.
Yes. It did work. But we proceeded to do...
what did you buy?
I bought her chips and a Gatorade.
Who did you pay for the chips and the Gatorade?
The lady that was running the counter.
That's not all they purchased. She had come over to the cafe, Country Convenience Cafe, and she had ordered a sub.
So she came over to where you were?
Yes.
And ordered a sandwich?
As Randy was walking around the store picking up snacks.
Let's get it right.
I was not in the store when she proceeded to buy a sub, ma'am. I went outside, and that's where he came over to my girlfriend's car.
Just a second.
Yes.
He walked around.
As the girlfriend was ordering a sub.
Did he purchase anything?
I wasn't really paying attention at that point. I don't think he did, because when Cody had left, the girlfriend proceeded to say, Randy, he's leaving. Are you going to go say something to him? So Randy had left the store.
Just a second. So the girlfriend, Miss Stupid, said to him, are you going to go and say something to him?
Yes.
And then he went outside?
And then he proceeded to go outside.
Oh, I love this story. You know how I know that he's telling me the truth?
How?
I'm going to tell you how. Because you, sir, certainly did not go outside with a Gatorade in one hand and chips in the other to go and have a conversation with him, because Miss Smarty Pants over there said to you, you're going to go outside and say something to him?
I didn't walk out with a Gatorade and chips.
Of course not.
No, she had them because she was getting
No,
a
she
sub.
didn't. She had gone over to order a sub.
Yes.
And you said, 2 seconds ago, you said,
Yeah.
I bought my girlfriend Gatorade and chips. I said, who did you pay for them? You said the person who was at the convenience desk.
Yes.
No, because she was standing over next to him ordering a sandwich. So she didn't have a Gatorade and chips.
The cafe...
Listen to me. I don't believe you.
Okay.
So you went outside because girlfriend said you're going to say something. Up. Stop holding your belly. You're not the first pregnant person around. When you said you're going to move over away from him, and you don't have to hook arms. You've already done enough trouble. When you said to him, he's going outside and you're going to say something, what were you referring to?
I never said that. I had my little brother, his little friend, and my girlfriend out by my car, which he's 15, so no one was going to attack a 20-year-old. And Randy was outside at this time when I was ordering the sub, and I actually never purchased the sub because I left. Because my girlfriend came inside and said, we have to leave because Cody's threatening us with guns. So that's when I ran out to my car, and then I got in it, and my car is parked between a telephone pole and a tree, and Cody had blocked it in, so I had to drive over someone's lawn to
What did you go outside for?
To talk to Mr. Fabrowski.
About what?
What has been going on?
What?
We both knew that we had tension with each other, and I went outside to talk to him to see what was going on.
What was your tension with him?
He recently said that he went to my house and beat me up, or tried to beat me up, and I wasn't there. And that's the rumors that I was hearing from him.
Sit down. Now you're outside, and he's where?
In his car.
And what happened?
Words were said, explaining the rumors.
No, I've been explaining. You go outside.
Yeah.
Where's girlfriend?
She's still inside.
Go ahead.
All right. After like 5-10 minutes of me and Cody talking in the parking lot, she comes outside. The only reason why I proceeded to kick his car is because he threatened me with guns in his car. And I have my pregnant girlfriend with me, her little brother that's 15.
Why do you keep calling her your pregnant
Because
girlfriend?
that's my child. What if he has a gun and something happens? Then I lose my child.
They should use a chip or something.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Cody Fabrowski says former friend Randy Spencer kicked his car during an argument outside a convenience store.
All right. Can I see the damage to the car?
You can. Would you like just the pictures or the estimates as well?
Both. What's your last name, sir?
Goulston.
You know both of these people?
This is
Yes.
the damage.
For how long?
A few years. They're my brother's age.
This is an estimate.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
These are two
How
different
long have you
estimates.
been working at the store?
About 3 years now.
Now, you're going to tell me your version of what you saw.
As Cody had left the cafe, Randy and his girlfriend had entered at the same time. From the front, Cody had exited the back. So Randy is walking around the store picking out food. The girlfriend comes over to order a sub. As she's ordering the sub, Cody's leaving. She says, Randy, you're going to go say something. Cody's leaving. Randy exits the store, goes outside. Cody stops his car, and they continue to have a verbal argument. His girlfriend exits the store. As she walked out the store, I peeked out the window just to see what was going on. And I proceed to see them. Yeah, I can't hear them. They're yelling at each other, arguing. Cody's window goes up, and Randy continues to kick the side of his car. Cody then gets on his cell phone, and the girlfriend comes in, says they're not going to be able, she's going to have to come back for her sub, and they took off in their car.
She's not going to be able to what?
Pick up her sub right now, because they had to leave because the police were there.
Did you finally get your sub?
She did, Your Honor.
I think I got it later on that day.
She picked it up from Country Cafe and Pizza, my
do you
restaurant. I was still working.
Really?
Hours
Yes.
How much later?
Maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours.
I believe that's after Cody Fabrowski had dropped off 2 people at my house to jump me with a getaway car.
But your girlfriend was still hungry. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We live in such a small town. Once something's said, then everybody reacts to it in whole different ways.
I've known him since I was a little kid. I didn't think the situation would escalate the way it did.
He threatened me with guns, but I know he's not going to shoot me. It's East Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Nobody's going to shoot anybody.
A lot of smoke blowing, a lot of nonsense. There was really no reason for any of that to happen.
Just 20-year-old boys.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Arnold versus Price. Step forward.
Christine Arnold is suing her neighbor, Corey Price, for damaging trees on her property when he intentionally burned his own lawn.
Mrs. Arnold, you and the defendant are neighbors.
Yes.
How long have you been neighbors?
I've been there ever since 2004.
And Mr. Price, how long have you been in your home?
11 years.
Okay, so you're both long-term neighbors.
No, that's not correct.
Yeah. Years. You've been neighbors for years.
Yes.
Not that many, though. I've been there 11. She's been there about 5 or 6.
That would be years with an S.
Yes, just not that many.
This is not going to go well for you, Mr. Price. It wasn't going to go well for you before. It is definitely not going to go well for you now. This is the case. Very simple. Miss Arnold has a whole bunch of trees. According to you, you were burning your lawn so that it could grow up healthier. And it's a practice that's used regularly where you underbrush of your lawn so it would come back green and beautiful. According to Miss Arnold, you severely damaged her trees with the fire. You don't deny that your fire, the fire that you set, caused damage to her trees. What you do say is it just scorched them a little. You see why it's not going well for you? Now, you have a picture of your scorched trees?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at them. Prior to these scorched trees, had you ever had any difficulty with Mr. Price?
Yes, I have.
What kind of difficulty?
He was cutting his grass all the way to my driveway, and I asked him several times not to do that, but he continued to do so anyway. So I decided, okay, I'll plant me a border there. And he opposed me planting a border of trees on my own property.
You mean these trees?
Yes.
Okay, so the original trouble between you and Mr. Price was these trees.
Well, the original problem, I think, was the fact that he was mowing his grass all the way to my driveway. And then later, I planted the trees there as a border.
So to show him that this was your property?
Yeah, my property.
Okay. So is this your tree?
That's mine.
This is your tree?
Yes.
So you also burned your tree?
Yes.
When you burned your grass? You got to be more careful, sir.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Christine Arnold says neighbor Corey Price damaged trees on her property when he intentionally burned his lawn. Corey is countersuing for harassment.
She's got scorched trees. You don't deny in your answer that the trees were scorched by the fire that you set.
Right. I got some evidence right here. I got a piece of the tree.
And?
I want to show it to you. The tree was scorched a little, but it didn't kill the tree.
Doesn't have to kill it.
Right, but I'm just making the point.
She doesn't have to look at scorched trees.
You're right,
If what you're saying to me, sir, is, let me try to understand and get there quickly because I think it's sushi for lunch today. What you're saying is if she cut off the bad stuff and let the tree grow back, next year or so, the tree will start to fill in.
Yes, that's
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
She doesn't have to look at dead trees for a year or 2 years while they grow back as a result of your negligence. That's the law. It's simple. You have to be more careful if you just decide to burn out your lawn so that your lawn will come up greener. That's why you say you burned your lawn.
Yes.
So I want you to try to follow this.
Okay.
The reason you burned your lawn is that you didn't want to look at scraggly lawn. You wanted it to come back healthy. That's what you say in your
Yes.
papers. She doesn't want to look at scraggly trees, just like you don't want to look at a scraggly lawn. She has a right to say, I want my trees green like they were. So you have to replace them, not wait for them to get better.
No, I'm not going to replace trees that's not dead. They just got a little heated.
Oh, you're going to replace them. You have an estimate for the trees, please?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see the estimate for the trees. Well, you're only suing him for $1,000, and this says it's going to cost you $2,000 for the trees. Okay, these trees are going to cost you $1,000 to replace. That's what you're suing him for. That's what you got on your complaint. Now you have a counterclaim.
Yeah.
The counterclaim is for harassment,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Well, tell me how she harassed you.
When she first moved in the neighborhood as my neighbor, me and her yard sort of joins together. I was cutting my grass all the way over to her driveway. I was doing that. I spoke with Miss Arnold in the very beginning, and I thought she was a great neighbor at the time. And she verbally told me that was okay to do that. So as a good, it was just a gesture that I would cut the grass all the way to her driveway.
So?
And she was perfectly fine with that.
Got it. I heard you the first time.
Now, at some point, she spoke about putting some trees up. It wasn't to block me or shut us out at that time.
So?
But it was just to beautify the yard.
So?
So she wanted to chip in and go in half, I guess, with the trees. At the time, I wasn't situated where I could do that.
So?
So she went and took the initiative, I guess, to do it herself.
And?
And just before that, though, when she had got onto my son about cutting the grass after this little confrontation.
That's not harassment.
It's harassing my son.
Nah, it's not harassment.
I believe it is. But anyway,
Well,
back to the trees. Okay.
We're finished with the trees. The trees are finished. You owe her $1,000 for the trees.
Well, let me finish my case now. Give me my moment, okay?
Sushi lunch.
Okay, but I'm going to eat too, but let me present this.
Go ahead.
When she planted those trees, she failed to realize that when she planted the trees, she put the trees on my property line. She's about a foot over on my property line.
You have the surveyors?
Yes, I do.
You have surveyors?
I have the original plat for the land, and she has a survey, and her survey, when he come out, he happened to, I guess his calculations was a little off the mark. He calculated 5 foot over than where the original.
Well, I don't know that, sir, unless you have an expert. You have an expert here?
I got the paperwork from the expert.
You have a survey. I don't know whose property those trees are on.
Well, that's what we're here to try to find out, too. Right?
No, not at all, sir. Actually, not at all.
That's part of what I want to prove, because if she can't go around planting trees on everybody's lawn.
Nowhere in your answer, sir, do you say that the trees are on your property. Nowhere.
Well, I'm sitting here saying it today.
Well, you can't.
Why not?
Because she has to be served with notice, sir, that your defense, which you was that you scorched them but just a little. Now you say you had a right to scorch them because they were on your property and therefore your trees. That's
no,
a whole
I didn't
different.
say I had a right to
that's a
scorch
whole different theory.
I don't have a right to scorch no trees, but the point I'm making, she's making a big fuss about the trees, so I'm gonna make a big fuss about she planting them on my property line.
Well,
right now.
let me tell you this, sir. Everybody has a story about a neighbor.
No, I don't got a story. I got some facts.
I want you to pay attention, listening ears.
I'm going to listen, but I want to be listening. I want you to listen to me at some point, too.
I heard you, listening ears.
Okay.
If you do something on someone else's property, like mowing their lawn, that's fine if they agree with it. Because there is, in most jurisdictions in this country, something called owning property. We call it in the law by adverse possession. That means that if over a long period of time you exercise control over her lawn, there is a legal theory that says you can claim that property as your own. Do you understand?
I hear you, but that's...
I want you.
Okay, go ahead.
Listening ears.
Go ahead.
If you, as a landowner, and who has property that's contiguous to hers, exercises control over a piece of her property so that everybody thinks that that property is yours, 10 years from now, you can say, that's not her property. That's my property. I've been taking care of that property. I've been seeding it, mowing it. Everybody knows it's my property. The deed may say that it's her property, but I now own that property by adverse possession. Do you understand? You know why I'm so smart with regard to this, even though I'm a family court judge? I'm going to tell you why. Because I had a neighbor, as a matter of fact, who had my piece of property. And all I said to him was, you know, you can mow it and take care of it. All I want you to do is sign a piece of paper saying you'll never claim that this property is yours because you know it's mine. My neighbor said, I'm not going to do that. You know what I did? I put a fence in the middle of his lawn.
And you put it on his side?
No, I put it on my side.
Oh, okay.
But it looks like it's in the middle of his lawn. I said, I don't want to do that to you. Just sign over that you'll never say that this property belongs to you because you really know it's mine. I said, I'm not going to do that. What you're supposed to try to be is a good neighbor.
I did.
Both of you. And when you cause damage to somebody else's property, she paid the money for the trees, Mr. Price. You can't do anything that damages her property without compensating her for it. Judgment for the plaintiff, the amount to $1,000. No, you hold on. It's lunchtime.
Are you going to come back for lunch?
Please excuse, you may step out.
You know, you just can't go around damaging other people's property. And
well, she made a real big deal out of a situation that really it wasn't that big of a deal.
You don't even talk to him about it.
So the trees are basically fixing themselves.
He needs to stop that because he could have burned down our entire house.
If you look at the trees now, they're greening back up as we speak.
I thought he was a good neighbor, but then when I saw he didn't want to listen to the fact that I didn't want him cutting my grass.
And I'm going to keep cutting my grass where I've been cutting it all the last 11 years.
All the way to the driveway, he gets an attitude and stops speaking to me.
I don't care. She never talked to me again.
So I'm saying, well, hey, that's okay.
She hadn't talked in 5 years, so she can keep on not talking. I don't care.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Moscow versus Limbeck. Step forward.
Catherine Moscow is suing her former live-in boyfriend, Jonathan Limbeck, for causing her to lose public assistance for housing.
Let me try to figure out exactly what it is that you want. I think I understand the facts. Actually, Bird's going to be fascinated with facts. You have a baby.
I have 2 children.
And you lived for a period of time and still live in an apartment. That apartment affords you free housing, or it did, for you and your 2 children. Then, because your relationship with the defendant seemed wonderful and blissful, you decided you would try living together.
Right.
And so he moved into your free apartment. You live in HUD housing?
It's Section 8 HUD housing.
Yes. Well, when they found out that Mr. Limbeck was living there, they said, well, can't have 2 able-bodied people living in free housing, so you have to start paying rent.
Correct.
And then your relationship with Mr. Limbeck fell apart.
Yes.
And he left.
Yes.
And now you want him to pay all the rent in the apartment.
Not all of it, just half.
Do you work?
Yes.
How much do you earn from your job?
I make minimum wage, telemarketing.
You work from the house?
No, I work at a facility.
Who takes care of your children?
I have a babysitter now.
I did.
So he was there to take care of your children?
He was there.
I did more than that.
He was there for a brief moment.
That's it. He's not going to pay your rent. Go to HUD housing. Tell him you moved out.
Well, when he moved out, he moved out, didn't give me any notice.
Were you fighting?
We did fight a lot.
Well, then it was a good
because
thing
he cheated on me with my best friend.
But that's because all she does is work.
Just a second. Listen, I don't care. He's not going to pay your rent.
Okay,
He's not your husband.
This isn't right. When he didn't provide me proof that he didn't live there anymore, I have to pay the full market rent because I can't prove that he doesn't live there. So now I have to pay the full market rent. I can't afford it.
What is, just a second, what do you want from me?
He should be responsible for that.
He's not going to pay your rent. He's not married to you. He's not the father of your children. He has no obligation to pay for support. You added him onto the lease. Now, do you have to give her something in order to establish that you don't live there anymore?
Your Honor,
listen to me. What did she ask you for as a statement that you do not live there anymore? Don't look down there and don't say
She tried to call me about me leaving, but every time when she called, she would always complain about me leaving her for her best friend. And
listen to me carefully. She needs a document from you indicating where you live, that you no longer live there.
but I feel...
How do you feel? Now I'm going to find out. What kind of a document do you need?
I need a bill with his name on it, a lease with his name on it, or something of that matter.
Fine.
But
Are you
I
the
have
girl?
to provide it within 10 days of the date they gave me this notice that said, if you don't give me this, your rent, you're going to have to pay it.
Listen to me. He's not going to pay your rent. I'm trying to help you get the document from him so maybe you don't have to pay the rent in the future. If you don't want my assistance with regard to that, say goodbye and you can leave. I'm trying to get you the letter. I'm trying to get you some sort of a document that he doesn't live there. Do you want me to do that or not? I'm not giving you money. I want you to forget money. It's not happening. Do you want me to try to get you a document that indicates where he lives?
I guess, but since the 10 days is over, I still have to pay.
We're done here. Case is over. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
This is crazy.
I'm excited that I don't have to pay.
Because I have to pay $700 a month and I can't afford it, so I don't know what to do.
Hopefully we could just move on to this.
I didn't know it was going to turn into this. You were supposed to be with me. We're going to get married.
She was always working, didn't have sex with me, so I ended up leaving her apartment and being with her best friend.
He just disappeared. I guess he wants to be with her.
It felt like everything was being put on me and it wasn't good enough.
If he would have given it to me within the 10 days, I would have still been able to get my assistance, but I can't now.
It's just in the past.
I'm just gonna stay by myself. I don't know.
Don't rush into anything you might regret.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Banks versus Jaffe. Step forward.
Pawn shop owner Arthur Banks says Donald Jaffe pawned a stolen shotgun at a store. Arthur says the gun was ultimately confiscated by the police.
Mr. Banks, you own a pawn shop. The defendant came into your shop, sold you a stolen shotgun. You gave him $875, and it turns out that, as I said, the gun was stolen. The police came, they confiscated it, and you want your money back.
Absolutely.
That's the case.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been in business?
About 23 years, Your Honor.
And it's my understanding from your complaint, sir, that you have to send photographs to the police department every day of the transactions that occur because they watch out for stolen property.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's how this shotgun was discovered.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. When did Mr. Jaffe come in and sell this shotgun to you?
On February 14th, 2013.
Okay. Now, what's your first name?
Thomas.
Thomas. Well, you're actually useless because he says he got the gun from somebody by the name of Wayne. Right? Mr. Jaffe.
Slay.
Thomas?
Wayne Slay. He's known as Wayne. His first name is Thomas.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. And you got the gun from him?
Yes, that's
correct. As a gift?
No, not as a gift.
Did you pay him for it?
Eventually, yes.
No, no. Did you pay him for it? Did you pay him? No. So you did not pay him for it, Mr. Jaffe, because I read your answer very carefully. And your answer said, my girlfriend posted the gun online, nobody was interested. A couple of days later, I was outside fixing my car when Wayne pulled up. He gave me the shotgun and told me he didn't have the time or energy to deal with it anymore. He told me to pawn it or sell it and use the money to buy a new car. That's what you said. So you didn't pay him for it.
Not at the time, no.
No, you didn't say at any time. You didn't say at any time, Mr. Jaffe.
Okay.
At any time. This is your answer.
Okay.
This is what you swore to. Okay. You said he gave it to you as a gift. That's what you said. I don't have time to deal with it anymore. Take it. Now, you took $875 for something that you paid nothing for. You spent it. He's out $875. He gets it back. Do you understand?
No, I don't understand.
Well, I'm going to try to say it to you then very slowly, in slow speed. You paid nothing for the merchandise. This is the merchandise. You paid nothing for it. He paid you $875. You spent the $875. I don't care whether you spent it. I don't care if you burned it. I don't care if you gave it to your friend. I don't care if you bought a new car with it. I don't care if you blew it in Las Vegas. What you did with it is inconsequential. You were the beneficiary of his $875, and he doesn't have the merchandise anymore, which means he has nothing. And you have his $875. Now, do you understand that?
No, I don't.
Oh, well, then you are actually thicker, and I'm 70 years old. I don't have enough time to teach you, sir. Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $875. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm satisfied. It was pretty cut and dry.
My friend was trying to help me out. and it was a big misunderstanding as far as the gun being stolen.
Mr. Jaffe had sold as a product. We had a signed contract.
It wasn't done intentionally. It was all new to me once it came about.
He gave me a product, and it got taken away by the police.
I had nothing against him. I didn't go to the pawn shop potentially trying to rip anybody off.
There's nothing we can do. Just report every single thing we take into the local police.
I'm a victim in this, too. I'm caught in the middle.
All I know is I'm the victim.
You're welcome. Judge Price has been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Crestall, it is your claim that the defendant, who you had hired to house and dog sit for you, stole property, trashed your house. The defendant says that she stole nothing from that the house was in reasonable order, that the only person who maybe was in the house was her former roommate, your former roommate. Correct. Is that right?
Correct.
Who's currently in jail.
Correct.
And you don't know what he may have stolen, but he was the only one in the house.
And he's the one who got me the job. My ex-roommate's the one who got me the job at his house. And he's the one who stole
So he
from
was
him.
a friend of yours?
He's a coworker.
Also a friend?
Also a friend. I know him for about 9 years.
Had he ever been in jail in that 9-year period when you knew him?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, how long was he a coworker?
9 years.
If he was in jail, then you would have known it.
Not necessarily, because I work in the motion picture business, so him and I work not totally 9 years straight. We work on and off for 9 years.
And how long was he your boyfriend?
Not my boyfriend.
Just your friend?
I rented a room in his house. Not my boyfriend.
Okay. This person who was your coworker currently in jail, your landlord, how many times had he been in your house?
Well, once or twice.
And what was he in your house for?
Just have a birthday party.
You would never have a reason to say he couldn't come to your house.
Not at all.
When did she take care of your house?
April 22nd through May 10th.
How much did you pay her?
I paid her $800 up front.
And she was supposed to stay in the house?
Correct.
Did you check out her background? Did you check out references?
I asked my coworker. He said that she works for a rescue agency, an animal rescue agency. I never did a full background check, but when I had asked my friend, he had said that Christian's very quiet, been living with him for about 6 years and no problems.
6 years?
6 months.
6 months. Okay, so now tell me what you're complaining about.
I went to the Middle East for 20 days, visit my family.
Got it.
On May 1st, my banker had texted me saying there was 2 checks that came in that were forged, not my signature and out of sequence. I had immediately Facebooked my neighbors and asked, have you seen any other people out in the house still there? My dog's fine.
You can't tell me what your neighbors told you, and you don't have any witnesses here.
Absolutely. I have everything in text messages back and forth in writing stating that my neighbor...
Just a second. That's still hearsay.
That's hearsay. Okay. Then a couple days later, another 2 checks had come through. I was texted saying there was another 2 checks for an amount of $500 are coming through. I had immediately called my next door neighbors, one of them who's an LAPD sergeant, and had asked to get entry into my place to remove my valuables from my property. When I came back home...
Okay, and somebody went into your property and removed your valuables.
Can I say something?
Shh. And removed your valuables, a neighbor.
Jewelry, yes.
Well, Mr. Crestall, I assume if you called this person, without telling me the conversation, you had to have given them the location of your jewelry.
Correct.
And other things.
And what's wrong with you?
Sorry.
Where did you tell them your jewelry was?
This is in my master bedroom closet.
Hidden?
Correct. Where my...
So the jewelry was hidden in a place that only you knew?
Yes.
Was the jewelry retrieved?
Yes.
Did you ask this neighbor to take anything else?
No.
Where did you keep your checkbook?
It was in my office.
In your desk?
It's in my desk.
Did you ask them to get your checkbook?
No.
Why not?
The checkbook was stolen.
Did you ask them to get it, is my question.
No. My bank had froze the accounts. So no, if anybody did try to draft it, it wouldn't
So you didn't need the checks anymore?
I did not need the checks.
Just the jewelry?
Just the jewelry.
So what I don't understand, I'm going to get back to you just for a second, because some of what you may tell me is true, but something doesn't make sense to me, Mr. Crestall. Your complaint also alleges that $2,000 in cash was stolen from your desk.
Correct.
If I were calling a neighbor and telling them to go and get my jewelry from a hidden place, I would also say to them, go into my desk where I've also hidden $2,000 in cash.
Correct.
And take that out.
And it was missing from my...
No, you didn't tell me, sir, that you asked them to go and look for anything other than your jewelry.
Okay. I do have...
So that doesn't make sense to me.
I do have correspondence between Christian and myself mentioning my cash numerous times, and she says she'll keep on looking for it.
Your cash?
Shh.
Sorry.
I will look at that. My question is, sir, why wouldn't you tell your neighbor? At this point, you don't know anything about anything. Why wouldn't you tell your neighbor if they're going into your house quickly to get out your valuables that you also had $2,000 in cash?
Because I thought it was well hidden, and it was not. The jewelry...
And you didn't think the jewelry was well hidden? That doesn't make sense, Mr. Crystal. All right, let's move on to something other than the cash.
Okay.
Can I talk about the cash for a second?
I'm not with you yet.
Okay.
Do you have photographs of what the house looked like when you came home on May the 10th?
I do not.
Why not?
I came home at 10 o'clock at night with jet lag and everything else. I didn't even come to think about taking pictures.
Well, what about after you got a good night's sleep on the 11th of May? You're saying that the house was trashed.
Yes, I had...
I just want to see a picture. It seemed to me if you're going to have a lawsuit, and if the house is trashed, you would take a picture of a trashed house.
I had texted her when I came home. Christine was not home present.
You texted her with what device?
My iPhone.
Your iPhone, which also takes?
Pictures.
Got where I'm going?
Yes.
What else?
My laptop was stolen, which was in my office. My electric bill was $250, where it's normally $200.
You know where his laptop?
But when he described it, he did remember actually seeing the same kind of case that he described to me in my ex-roommate's garage prior to him coming home. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think for 1 second that Clint would have ever done anything like that to anybody. But the same exact bag that he did describe, I know I did see in his garage. It's not just a coincidence.
What's he in jail for?
I really don't know. After that whole thing happened, I have not really talked to him at all.
Are you still living in the same house?
Oh, no.
Oh, you moved?
Oh, yeah. I had to have the cops go there with me and get my stuff out. It was all bad, but I'm out.
Because of Clint, you had to go?
Yes.
Okay. What else?
There was other tools stolen from my house. Because of my job, I do have special tools, and those were missing as well.
Do you have any proof that Miss Curtis stole any of these things? Mr.
Yes.
Crystal? I'd like to see what proof you have that she stole any of these things.
The text messages. Also, Your Honor, I laid down strict guidelines that nobody was allowed in my house, and no other dogs were allowed in my house. And what I found out was there's numerous people.
You can't tell me what you found out, sir. Okay. Anything that you found out through another person is hearsay. If you had that person here, they could tell me.
No. Unfortunately, because of his job, he's not allowed to appear.
Well,
he's in jail.
I also have...
Would you please tell me what you're referring to with regard to proof that she stole any of your property?
It would be on the last page. She said if I kept on continuing investigating, she would wind up in jail.
I said that about myself. If I were to do that to Clint,
Shh,
he would throw me in jail.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
And it was correspondence from her in regards to my property.
No, I'm trying to see what you think inculpates her in stealing your property.
Your
this
Honor,
is the last
I
page.
was talking about Clint would throw me in jail. Sorry.
I want you to read what you think inculpates her in the theft of your property.
Okay. I did as much investigation work as I could. Believe me, I wanted to do much more, but it would have definitely put me, Christine, in jail. I don't know what else to say besides I'm sorry, but I know it doesn't help you get your stuff back. I haven't given up.
So she says, I was helping you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Affidavits of the checks that were stolen.
And?
Showing over $2,000 worth of checks. So obviously it was either Christine or someone who...
It's Kristen.
Kristen. It's either Kristen or someone else who let in my house that stole my checkbook.
That may be true, and it may not be true, sir.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Steve Crestall says house sitter Kristen Curtis stole from him and trashed his home while he was out of the country.
Mr. Crestall, you authorized somebody else to come into your house.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
Who did I?
Your neighbor. Sorry, he could have walked on me naked. Like I could have been naked.
I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear from you again unless I'm asking you a question. Yes, you did. You told a neighbor to go in and get your jewelry.
After the fact that I got all this property that's missing.
No. You didn't know anything was missing at that point.
At that point, correct.
You didn't know anything was missing.
But I'd hire her to wash my dogs and watch my house.
Mr. Crystal, it's possible that either the defendant or someone that she let into the house is responsible for some of your property going missing. That's possible. Now, Two things. I assume you're not out any money from the bank because if someone forged your name to checks, the bank is responsible. Correct?
Correct.
So you're not out any money from the bank. Mr. Crystal, I don't believe you, sir, with regard to the cash that you had in the house, that you, A, didn't take with you, and B, didn't have the neighbor at least look for when they came to remove your jewelry. That belies somebody who has cash well hidden in a desk, especially a desk where the checkbook was housed that you knew was touched based upon your conversation. So I don't believe you had cash in the house.
Yeah.
That's number two.
Okay.
Number three, she may have been responsible for some other stuff there or somebody that she let into the house, but you don't have proof of that.
Even with emails.
You showed me emails from her.
Emails from my two neighbors.
No. Emails from your two neighbors, sir, are hearsay. You would be asking me to read emails and to take what they're saying as fact, and without an opportunity for myself or for the defendant to question them. That's why we don't admit hearsay.
Okay.
Okay? So, I can't help you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She's right. Absolutely right.
Next time, I'm not going to hire a friend. I'm going to hire a licensed individual to watch my house and my dogs.
His neighbor, the one who had a key, literally just walked in one day. I mean, luckily I wasn't naked.
I paid somebody to watch my house and they didn't do it.
Don't house sit for anybody.
Don't do it.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Haig versus Brookins. Step forward.
Michael Haig is suing his former friend, Candace Brookins, for the return of money he put towards the purchase of her laptop. Michael claims Candace never handed over the computer.
You and Miss Brookings knew each other as friends for a long time. You live in New York?
Yes, New York.
And you live in Massachusetts?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know each other?
I was working at a hotel in upstate New York. He had called to make a reservation and was hitting on me over the phone. When I gave him a discount for the room is how we first met, Your Honor.
How long ago was that?
About 2 years ago.
And you've been friends ever since?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When I say you've been friends ever since, that means you've communicated or you've met in person?
We've met in person and have communicated via Facebook.
So this is what your case is about, sir. Miss Brookings called you and you were speaking on the phone, and she let you know that she was in the market to sell her computer. And she was asking a certain amount of money, and you felt as if it would be a good business investment because you could resell the computer if you purchased it from her for $700.
Exactly.
You could sell it to someone else and make a couple of $100 yourself.
Yes.
So you, according to you, agreed to purchase the computer, and as a demonstration of your good faith, you sent her $350.
Yes.
And she did not send the computer.
No, ma'am.
And so you want her to follow through with your business deal.
Exactly.
Or return your $350.
I want my...
$350.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am, there was no business deal.
I didn't recognize you. I went like this. That's not recognizing.
I have
That's telling you
there was no business deal, ma'am.
Like this is not recognizing you, don't you? Get it? Now, Ms. Brookings says that there was never a business arrangement that the two of you had, that she did, in fact, at some point discuss the fact that she was going to sell her computer, but because of all the software and everything else that's on the computer, it's worth a lot more than that. She wanted $1,000 for it, but as a friend, she told you she was short on cash, so you sent her $350 as a gift. That's your defense.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Great. I just like yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. It makes my job so much easier. And then you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim is that he harassed you for the return of this money, so you have a counterclaim for harassment.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
The only one who's being harassed here today is me. Now, Ms. Brookings, you were very quick to tell me that you have proof that there was no business deal, and you were holding up one piece of paper. So I would like you to give that piece of paper to Officer Byrd, please.
This is a conversation off Facebook, ma'am, of us discussing the computer.
It says, I'm trying to sell the brand new Mac I got from school, so I have money to pay my bills. How did you get the brand new Mac? From what school?
Ma'am, I have identification for that, too.
Just tell me.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. The school gave me the brand new Mac for being a student at their school, and I have evidence of that also.
Just a second. Now, you go to school in Massachusetts?
Ma'am, I attend online. I'm an online student.
I love this. This is...
Your Honor?
Shut! How much does it cost to go to this online college?
Roughly $10,000 a semester.
Now, you don't pay $10,000 a semester. Is that right?
Ma'am, correct.
Is that correct?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
You don't pay $10,000. Some government pays the $10,000.
That's not correct, ma'am. I pay student loans every month, ma'am.
You do?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Tell me how much.
Ma'am, my student loans are $1,200 a month.
Where do you get the $1,200 a month from?
Ma'am, I work as a technical support agent for a satellite company.
Now, I'm trying to figure out what online school, unless they're getting government money, gives you a $1,200 computer that you then turn around and sell to pay your bills. I'm trying to figure that out. Somewhere in this, there is a scam. I'm trying to figure it out. You're not being helpful. I'm getting a lot of yes man, no man. But one of the things you got to go to school that you didn't pay for was this computer that you were then turning around and selling. Because here you say it's worth $2,600. I know we're getting fleeced some way.
Ma'am,
I'm just trying to figure out how.
Ma'am, they give you the computer just for being a student, not that.
Listen, online schools are in business to make money.
I understand.
That's what they... Just a second. You could say I understand that. Online schools, that's their business. They're in business to make money. And they will take as much money as they can. They don't give away toaster ovens
Ma'am,
like
they're not
that.
giving it away because I pay for it through my student loans. It's wrapped into my tuition.
No way. I never, no way. In any event, she says the money was a gift. You say it was not a gift, it was part of this sort of problem that she was having paying her bills.
Right.
Right? Maybe there was a misunderstanding. Maybe she didn't understand that when you said to her, I'll look behind anyone who wants to buy it, but I will send you some money for your bill, no problem, that she didn't understand that you were going to look for somebody to buy her computer, but it was all going to come off the purchase price. Maybe
Correct.
she didn't understand that. So this is what we're going to do, Mr. Haig. I'm going to give you your $350 back. That she's going to give you, because she can't profit from that. And as far as you were concerned, this was not a gift. This was part of a business arrangement. Correct?
arrangement,
Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Ma'am, I also have evidence that I lost 2 weeks' worth of pay from him harassing me, and I have
Should have given him his money back. Bye.
Parties are excused when they step out.
If he's going to send me $350 so I can go buy a pair of shoes and a new dress, so be it.
She's a fraud. She tried to scam me.
Isn't that what women do to most men?
I sent her $350, and she didn't even send a computer.
Use them for something, one thing or another.
And, 5 business days went by, and I knew it was just a scam.
Because he's mad he couldn't have this.
Yeah, right. Take a look at her. Let's be serious.
Fatoumata Diallo is suing salon owner Kanaya Taylor for 5 wigs.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2008, Delano versus Taylor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Briefly, and then I'll get into specifics. You sold over the internet some wigs. You claim you sold them to the defendant.
Yes.
They were charged on a credit card. According to you, it was the defendant's credit card. You shipped the wigs. The defendant, according to you, received the wigs, then challenged the credit card charge, and the charge was reversed so that you did not get your money. And Ms. Taylor kept the wigs. It is Ms. Taylor's claim that you never sold her the wigs, that you sold the wigs to clients of hers, and if they didn't pay you, that's not her problem. Is that your defense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Stop jumping up and down because it makes me seasick.
Okay.
Stand still. I can't. You can't. You want a stool to sit on?
No.
You sure?
I just have anxiety.
Okay. Ms. Diallo, how long had you been in the online wig business?
3 years now.
And on what date did Ms. Taylor contact you?
October 1st of 2021.
Had you ever dealt with her before?
I haven't. A customer of mine actually referred her to me.
You had not dealt with her before?
Correct.
And her first order was for what?
A 34-inch deep wave wig unit.
I don't know what that is. Tell me how much it cost you.
$391.
And how much did you charge Miss Taylor?
$491.96.
And you shipped it to her?
No, I didn't.
Where did you ship it?
Right now, I didn't ship anything at the moment.
Okay, so she ordered the first one for $491.
Yes, and then after that, I shipped after.
How many did she order all in total?
In total, 5.
Within what period of time?
In the span of 4 days.
Okay, and Miss Taylor, you do not deny the fact that 5 wigs were ordered in a conversation over the internet with the plaintiff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh is not an answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a copy of those orders?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see them, please. Who's Joyce?
One of my clients. Your Honor, that's her.
Shh. Do you have a MasterCard?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any credit card?
Yes, ma'am.
How long has Joyce been a client of yours?
Probably about a year.
When you say she's a client of yours, she comes to your salon?
Yes.
You have a salon?
My apartment. No, I have to do my hair out of my apartment.
So she comes to your apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you know when she wants to come for an appointment?
She'll text me. She'll DM me.
Okay, so she texts you, which means she texts you from a phone.
Right.
Which means that you have your phone, which shows her text messages.
Not.
What do you mean, not? If she texts you for an appointment, then you know how to contact her.
Yeah.
And she knows how to contact you. I want to see that. I want to call her.
I don't have that phone anymore.
Get it. You have to understand where I'm going. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes, you understand where I'm going. Who is that?
My boyfriend.
Your boyfriend. What does he have to do with this?
Because he was at the house when her and someone else came to the door.
I don't care.
Okay.
If I were coming to court today and I knew that there was going to be a certain amount of proof that involved some person who is named Joyce, and order confirmation email was sent to Joyce at your email address.
Right.
Right. And Joyce is somebody who was a client of yours for a year, not too long ago, who's no longer a client of yours. Not uh-huh. Uh-huh isn't an answer. Yes is an answer.
Ma'am.
But you can't give me her number to call because you lost your phone.
Yes. And she blocked me after I start asking her about the dispute.
Well, just a second. Well, that's 2 different things. You see, if she may have blocked your number, she won't block my number. That's not what you told me. You told me you don't have that phone anymore.
I don't.
Well,
and she blocked me.
How do I know that?
Her. I don't know.
How do I know that?
Did.
Yeah, right. Okay. Dora Dynasty, is that your?
Yes, that's my business.
That's your business. Well, these wigs were sent to Dora Dynasty.
Right.
Right. I know, right. And who is?
A client.
And is still your client?
No.
No. Okay. You seem to be having a lot of trouble in your business.
How?
Yeah.
I've been having this trouble ever since the wigs have got delivered, and she hit me about a dispute.
Let me explain something to you. You purchased the wigs based upon her conversation.
I got
she had
to
just pay careful attention to me. They were all delivered to you.
Right.
That means you bought them. If somebody stiffed you, that's not her problem. But according to her, and you acknowledge that she sent you 5 wigs, and the is not an answer. Do you understand? You following me? Okay. What was the total value of her purchase?
$21.96.
And can I see the reversal of that charge on your credit card?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, at some point, your credit card was charged. At some point, your credit card was charged. That's either a yes or a no.
No.
Whose credit card was charged?
My client's.
Which client?
I'm not sure. Whichever wig she said was disputed.
You said in your answer you kept all the wigs.
No, I didn't. I didn't keep all the wigs. They got delivered to my house. 2 of them I installed, and the rest they picked up.
The wigs got shipped directly to my salon.
The wig shipped to my apartment because I was going to do their hair. I told them about the vendor.
Are you trying to tell me that despite the records that she has, that you were the contact person on all of this?
Right.
Nobody else?
Right.
Just you?
Right.
That you gave these wigs to somebody else?
They
the 4 other
paid
people?
for 'em.
They paid who?
They paid her. They paid for the wigs, and they got them shipped to my house.
Were 4 different people charged for the wigs?
Yes.
4 different people?
Yes, she did 5 different transactions.
Are you telling me that the 5 different transactions were all her?
All her.
That makes my life easy. So what you're saying to me, she charged it on 5 different cards.
Yes, no idea.
But she is all of those people.
All of them. How?
I'd like to see it.
Please. And Your Honor, she also admits it on Twitter. She doesn't actually know I have her Twitter account. And this is how she gets them. She orders,
May I see it, please? See how you're smiling? Bad. She should have left you home.
Man, please.
Do you understand? She should have left you home.
Nah, they just ain't
You
communicating
should have left
right.
you home.
They ain't communicating right.
Still not a good look from you.
Fatoumata Diallo claims salon owner Kanaya Taylor owes for the cost of 5 wigs.
What's Beauty?
That's her business name. Business Twitter. I don't have a Twitter. Right. I have an Instagram, 2 of them. I have and a business page. That's what I have. I don't have a Twitter. Do you have my Instagram? I do.
Don't talk to each other. Don't ask her any questions. That's so interesting.
What?
From Dora Salon, is that it? Or Dora Salon?
Yes, ma'am. No. I have her LLC.
Just a second. Yeah. Can I see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Dora Dynasty. And here's her LLC, so it matches.
I'd like to see it.
And here you go as well.
Well, this is from Beauty at...
No.
What do you mean, no?
No, my business name is Dora Dynasty.
Yeah. Dora Salon 1 Beauty, Dora Dynasty LLC, Dora's Dynasty.
Right.
And about the same time, the tweet is over 2,000 in wigs. I'll smack those. And then on the 13th, you write, my wigs come tomorrow. And then on October 11th, I'll be wrong if I dispute it once I get it. And then I don't know. What did the...
Because,
what is,
ma'am,
just a sec, I'm reading something. Is not an answer. I didn't ask you anything. What does that mean, Sarah?
It's just an emoji. Like, so what? I don't care.
Oh, I'll be wrong if I dispute it once I get it. So what? But was so rude I can't even ask them questions, telling me I didn't read it. And then she writes, see how you're smiling? Bad. She should have left you home.
Man, please.
Do you understand? She should have left you home.
Nah, they just ain't
You
communicating
should have left
right.
you home.
They ain't communicating right.
I paid all this money for these wigs and these slow rolling. Wow. I assumed that those people, the clients that you were talking about, was slow rolling. Would that be a fair statement? I mean, I'm not familiar with all of this. And then you show me in these tweets, or whatever they call them, a picture that was put up by Boo. Is that a name?
Yes.
Now, what is that?
That's her client actually contacting me and telling me that she's charged her for the wigs and that she was never a stylist to begin with. How did I upcharge the fee when they paid for it themselves?
Nobody hears you, madam. Okay, so you acknowledge you got them. Your statement is you no longer have them. She didn't make a deal with you. She made a deal with 4 other phantom clients, 2 of whom either you lost your phone, the dog ate your phone, you don't have the number anymore, you don't have the contact anymore, but we don't know how to get in touch with him. And then there was somebody that actually was wearing one of the wigs that she didn't get paid for, that she got from you.
That's not true.
Could I see the invoice and the chargeback, please?
Yes.
Still not a good look from you.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah, not a good look.
It's funny because it's not true.
Not a good look. You the boyfriend?
Yeah.
Stand up for a minute. Just have a couple of questions. Tell me your name.
Braylon, right?
What do you do for a living?
I'm a barber.
Do you live together?
Yes.
How long have you lived together?
Going on a year.
So you were living with her when these wigs were delivered?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, would be an answer. Were you there when she opened the wigs?
One wig she had to put together for a client. Then she opened, she told me what she was doing. I know her. I don't be in no business like that.
So the answer is you were only there when one wig was delivered?
I was only there when she opened one wig.
When she opened one.
And I took her to go pick up a wig from her.
Did you drive her there?
Yeah.
Did you go in with her?
No. She came outside. She walked across
Just a
the street and got it.
Don't speak. Don't speak. She walked across the street and got it.
From her, yeah. Downtown.
Your Honor, she was actually driving. Cause,
Do you work out of the apartment as well?
No.
You work out of a shop?
Yes.
Are you ever there when your girlfriend is working on clients in your house, in your apartment?
Yeah, I've been there.
Often?
Not really. I be gone. Working hours, I'm working. If she work at the house, I'm working at the shop.
How many rooms are in the place where you and the defendant live?
At the time, we was in a 2-bedroom apartment.
And who was there, just the two of you?
No, we had a roommate.
So you had one bedroom for yourselves, you had a roommate, and then there was a common area, kitchen, living room, right?
Yes.
Where did she conduct her salon business, in what room?
What it would be like dining room area connected.
In the dining room?
Yeah.
And is that where she kept her equipment?
Yes.
Is that where she kept her materials?
Yes.
How many wigs did you see in that dining room area at any one time during the time you were living there?
Maybe one she was working on the door, maybe two at the most.
You paid rent in the apartment?
Did I pay rent? Nah.
Did she pay rent?
Yes.
How much?
It was like, what, $1,200?
Don't ask her anything.
$1,200. I don't pay the rent, $1,200. I don't pay it, so I don't know.
Why don't you pay anything towards rent?
I don't have to pay the rent if I pay the bills, I pay car notes, I pay different stuff. We 50-50.
Well, if it's 50-50, then you would also pay part of the rent.
Not if it add up to both our car notes, rent, which really be a little bit more.
Okay, so you pay the other bills, she pays the rent.
Yeah, I moved in with her. I ain't lived there the whole time. I told you it'd only be like a year. She was already staying there. I moved in.
With what did you pay the car note? With a check?
No, I pay with either a car or my money.
Your girlfriend, does she have a car?
Does she have a car?
Yes, that's a yes or a no.
Not right now, she did.
Did she?
Yes.
What kind of a car did she have?
Chevrolet Sonic.
And what happened to that car?
It got, whatever, repoed.
It was repossessed.
They was scamming me on my insurance.
Just a second. I didn't ask you anything. I'm asking your witness. Okay. You brought him.
Right. I'm not the only person you suing. If I pulled up
nobody is listening to you.
Okay, well, can I leave?
No.
Fatoumata Diallo has accused salon owner Kanaya Taylor of stealing 5 wigs. Kanaya says Fatoumata was trying to scam her.
So the car was repossessed. When? Don't look at her. Give me a month, give me a year. Was it recent, in the last 3 months, 4 months?
I can't give you a month.
So it was repossessed because of non-payment of whatever the note was, because that's the only basis to repossess a car. Okay. Now, you say you're not living in that same apartment anymore. You were living in this 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh is not an answer.
Yeah.
Yes is an answer. And you're no longer living in that apartment.
No.
And what happened to that apartment?
I moved. She moved with me.
Okay. You moved when?
November.
November of 2021.
Yes.
Just about the time of all these disputes over wigs. Did your roommate remain in the apartment?
Yes.
Did you have a lease in that apartment?
Yes.
Was your lease over, or did you move out during the lease?
It was over, and I renewed it for my roommate.
Now, the lease was in your name.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh is not an answer. Yes is an
ma'am.
answer, and you renewed the lease even though you moved out.
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you living now?
In Conyers.
What kind of place?
House. And I pay all the bills.
And what does your girlfriend do?
She works.
What does she do?
She does lashes. She does hair. She does nails. She's an entrepreneur.
Does she have a website?
Yes.
Yes. What's the name of her website? You think?
Yeah, I think. I don't be on her. I don't shop with her.
Got it?
Looking.
Did you have a conversation with Miss Taylor about these 5 wigs? Did you have a conversation with her?
Yes.
Do you have a cell phone?
Me? No.
Did you ever have a cell phone?
Yes.
What happened to your cell phone?
I broke it, so I went on another one.
And you didn't get another one?
It have to get sent to the house. I just broke it. Like, I just broke it.
You just broke it?
Yeah.
So
last
you
week.
have a cell phone. Tell me how you broke the cell phone.
I got real angry and I threw it.
You got angry with somebody?
Yes.
And tell me how your girlfriend lost her cell phone.
Oh, she gave it to me.
phone? When did she lose her cell phone?
She gave me that phone. I bought her another phone. She gave me that phone.
So she gave you,
around.
just a second. So she gave you the phone that she had been using?
Yes.
Which had Joyce information on it. That was the phone she gave you.
I guess I don't know Joyce. I don't know who Joyce is.
Sit down. Ms. Taylor, you want to be in business, you have to pay for what you ordered. It's absolutely, I'm not speaking to you, it's absolutely outrageous that she sent you these wigs, they were delivered to your house, and she not only doesn't have the wig, she doesn't have not only her profit, she doesn't have any money. And you've got a lot of clients that you can't identify, and phones that got lost, and information that you don't have. And information that you don't have, that you don't have. Clients that are no longer clients, that blocked you. I mean, people who block you after you work for them for a year, that means that you're either doing a lousy job.
No, because the way she came at me, I actually chumped them off because I feel like you're messing up my business. So I chumped them off, and I guess she didn't want to reply, and she just blocked me. 2196, judgment for the plaintiff.
Your Honor, I have other text messages. I was out of business for like month and a half.
I have to tell you something. I can't discern whether you lost business or not because of this. I cannot discern that. I can give you back the money that you lost as a result of shipping her 5 wigs and not getting compensated for it.
And I also have court fees, and I ordered a PI as well.
But
just a second.
More people
that
than
I will
just me
hear.
for wigs.
What were your court fees?
I'm not the only person you suing. If I pulled up
nobody
and bought a wig, why wouldn't I?
Nobody is listening to you.
Okay, well, can I leave?
No.
It's
court fees.
Like.
And I also have my incident report that day.
Just a second. Would you please just give me the court fees? You said you had court fees and you hired an investigator.
Yes, I did.
And I'd like to see that invoice, because that's you're entitled to.
I have the text messages of my PI.
I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is that you're handing me. I asked you what the court fees were.
I have my PI phone number.
You have nothing.
I didn't print out my court fees, but I do have my more.
Do you have an invoice from the investigator that you say that you hired?
Yes.
And the work that they did?
Yes, I have all the messages.
I don't want messages. I need an invoice, a payment.
I did a payment, $400, and we have the text message trying to find her everything.
Can I see it, please? It was $250 for skip tracing and $150 for service.
My sales went down.
Just a second. Did this person serve her?
Yes, they did.
2196, judgment for the plaintiff. That's it. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
I never did it. You know, I just got it sent to my house.
We went through everything. We had to go through birthdays.
It's like saying, oh, I know a friend that they know how to cut hair.
Text messages, everything.
And then you don't like your haircut. What, you want me to pay for your haircut? Like, girl.
We literally hawked her down for the information.
She honestly messed up my clientele.
It would be easy to be forthcoming with me and say, these are the clients who I sold it to. I gave her the information. They were supposed to pay her, whatever, but she didn't.
A lot of running around.
A lot of running
story.
around, and there's no question that the plaintiff sold her those wigs. She made a markup. She made a 25% markup. That's okay. And I'm certain that she put in the wigs and made her own markup. Yep. You know, that's commerce. But this ability to reverse charges on a credit card and to have somebody, and it's usually just a person, we're not talking about a committee or a tribunal that determined whether or not the charge was legitimate, just to reverse it. And then where are you? You're left without your product. Very frustrating.
It's a double-edged sword. It can be very useful. I've had to do that on a few different occasions. And the process is very hidden and sort of behind the curtain. And I fear for people like the plaintiff who run their own business, hardworking people who make the best money on the internet because there's no overhead fee of running a store. But these are some of the risks and things that you have to ensure before you get into business.
Well, too bad. Too bad people don't do the right thing. If they did the right thing, we'd be out of business.
Nishera Garrett is suing her former friend, Michael Kodia, and his girlfriend, Brianna Serrano, for a personal loan, car damages, and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2056, Garrett versus Kodio scenario.
Thank you. Miss Garrett, this gentleman, Michael Codia, is that
correct? Miss.
Codia?
Yes.
You and Mr. Codia have been lifelong friends, according
Yes.
to what I read in the complaint. Lifelong, you're both very young. How do you know him?
Well, we used to ride bikes together. His mom used to also braid my hair when I was a child every Sunday.
But you and Mr. Codia were never involved in any relationship other than just friendship.
No.
And Mr. Codia, Miss Serrano is currently your girlfriend.
Correct. Yes, Your Honor.
She had been your girlfriend and been living with you for a while, and you have a child together.
Yes, correct. Well, she's currently pregnant. We're expecting, yeah, they're expecting.
Great. You had a fight.
Yes.
With Miss Serrano, and that was around June of this year.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was a substantial enough fight that Miss Serrano left the home, and she left the home with your child. And how old is your child?
As I was saying, we are expecting.
So you don't have a child together?
She's 6 months pregnant, though, currently.
Okay. So you're just living, and she left.
Correct.
At about the same time, Miss Garrett, your friend, needed a place to stay.
I wouldn't say needed a place to stay, but...
What would you say?
It was more like, I kind of had a clue, like she had a place to stay, but it was just one of those situations.
No, look over here. Look over here. Okay.
Sorry.
Now, Mr. Codia, I want you to understand there are very few stories that are new under the sun. I want you to really understand that. I have children. I have grown grandchildren, boys and girls. I've seen all the movies that I want to see about romance and guys. So your girlfriend leaves you.
Yeah.
Yes. And would it be fair to say that you invite Miss Garrett to come and stay with you?
Yes, it would be fair.
Had you ever invited her to come and stay with you before?
No, I have not. Not in the current apartment that I'm staying in right now, no.
Had you in another apartment?
No.
So the answer is you had never invited your friend to come and stay with you before?
No.
Interesting. So on June 27th, she left. On what date did you invite Miss Garrett to come and stay in your apartment?
June 16th.
June 16th?
Yes.
So 11 days before Miss Serrano left?
Miss Serrano left about a week prior to her coming.
What date did you leave, Miss Serrano? Do you recall?
I don't recall. I recall it was the end of, or mid-June of this year, I would say. I had personal things going on, so I really wasn't, you know.
Now, Miss Serrano, I'm going to ask you why you left.
We had a falling out. Me and Michael had a falling out.
Yes. What did you and Michael have a falling out about?
Well, at the time, my mother was in the hospital, so that it was a disagreement surrounding having to move back home and take care of her in the household.
And?
And that was pretty much it.
Well, what did he say? He said he didn't want you to, and you...
Yeah, he pretty much, long story short, didn't want me to move back to my mother's house, so that caused, you know...
Okay, so he wanted you to stay?
Yes. Yes, he wanted me to stay, but, you know...
He wanted you to stay. Now, did you know that the two of you were expecting at that time in June?
Yes.
So he knew that you were expecting a baby, that you wanted to go back to your mother's house because she was ill and you wanted to help take care of her. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And despite the fact that he said, don't go, you left?
Yes, ma'am.
And you went home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it would be fair to say that he was annoyed?
If you want, yes. Yes.
Oh, I'm getting this whole picture now. It's so easy. Okay. And about a week later, he invites this attractive young lady who's been a friend of his for a long time, a non-romantic friend, to move into the apartment.
Yes.
You know that that was nasty, right?
Oh, no, yes, I know.
You know that was nasty.
That was an agreement between them.
No.
You know.
But you know that that was a sort of a nasty thing to do.
Oh, no, I'm fully aware. Yes, ma'am.
I just want you to know what you're sort of dealing with.
Yes,
you know.
I'm fully aware of what I'm dealing with. Thank you, though. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, so, Mr. Codia, I wanted to sort of get even a little bit. You invite Miss Garrett to come and move in, no rent or anything, because you didn't have an agreement to pay rent. You weren't going to pay rent or anything, and you moved in. And you moved in on?
I moved in on the 1st.
On the 1st of?
July.
July 1st. Now, Miss Serrano, I'm going to come back to you because this is such a fascinating story.
Oh, Lord.
Such a fascinating story. And he deserves to get dumped on a little bit.
Oh, there's more where that came from, yes. I said that's more where that came from, yes.
Okay. And between the time you left and July 1st, when Miss Garrett was invited to come to stay at the house, were you in communication with Mr. Codia?
Yes. I would say like every day or every other day we spoke, you know, arguments, you know how it is.
Yeah. Well, you know, first of all, you're pregnant and you have emotions, and then you're taking care of family members and whatever. And so I got it. Did he tell you that Miss Garrett was moving in?
Yes.
When?
I would say I found out around like the 27th, 28th.
Of June?
Yes.
Tell me how you found out that she was moving in.
I believe at that point she was already moved in at that point.
Okay. And what made you think that?
Just based off of how the conversation went or how he told me.
Tell me what he told you.
What I was told was that a friend was moving in to solely cook and clean.
See what's happening, Tim? This fly is getting vengeance on
That's getting on me too.
What the hell's going on? Oh, you got a swapper too, wow.
I'm waiting for it to come over here.
Yes.
Nashira Garrett claims her former friend, Michael Codia, and his girlfriend, Brianna Serrano, owe for a personal loan and an assault.
Tell me what he told you. I'm curious. I want to know.
What I was told was that a friend was moving in to solely cook and clean. That's what I was told.
Okay, did he tell you who?
Who it was. I never met her.
But he told you who it was?
Yes, he told me who it was.
And that made you, I would probably guess, a little annoyed and unhappy.
I mean, I was annoyed.
I would be annoyed.
I mean, I was annoyed because I had personal things going on, but in between that time before actually realizing that she was living at my apartment, I actually had a brief interaction with her. I met her at a park. I met her. So...
Between the time you moved out?
Yes.
Okay. Was it you met because you contacted each other, or you met by accident?
We met because me and Michael just, you know, had a conversation to have had at that point in time. I'm assuming she was there in the area, so he just wanted to kill two birds with one stone. He said, do you want to meet the person, you know, who's there, who I'm living with, and that's how it went.
And was it a cordial meeting?
Yes, it was.
You met her, she met you?
Yes.
And he said, I just want you to meet the lovely-looking girl that I'm now living with because you went home to take care of your mother.
I guess so, if you want to put it...
Yes, he...
Don't forget.
This is what your case is about. First, you claim that you loaned Mr. Codia $750 for rent.
Yes.
And you did that because he said once Miss Serrano moved out, she wasn't paying her rent. He was short on rent. That's what I read here. Mr. Codia has a whole different story. He said while he told you that he was a little short on rent and he was going to have to get a third job.
That's not true.
Just a second. You jumped in and offered to give him $750. That's what you wrote here. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, Mr. Codia, did you tell Miss Serrano that somebody was moving into the apartment just to cook and clean? That's what she says.
Yes, that's exactly my words. Exactly my words, yeah.
That's exactly what you told her.
Correct.
You didn't tell Miss Serrano, the soon-to-be mother of your child, that you had a roommate who was paying rent.
I did not.
Miss Serrano, what kind of work were you doing when you were living together in June?
I had a work-from-home position, will still currently do as a Medicaid specialist.
Were you sharing rent with him?
Yes. Everything was 50-50.
Did you pay him any rent in July?
No, I did not.
Did you pay him rent in June?
Yes.
So you paid him the $750. That was your share of the rent? Is that what your share was?
That was my share of the rent. June was already paid for. July I did not pay because I did not believe I was going to be there.
Okay. Tell me what he said to you that caused you to give him this $750.
Well, he texted me one morning and said that Brianna was no longer going to pay her half of the rent as of July, and that if he can...
You were living there already?
Yes, and if I give him $750, he would give it back to me. And we never discussed anything about me cooking or cleaning. I actually brought groceries, which he said that he would pay me back for, too, while I'm staying there.
Okay, so you were actually there for 5 days, is that right?
About 5 days.
5, 6 days. And at some point around the first week in July, July 5th, 6th, or 7th, you came to the apartment.
Yes.
Tell me what happened.
We had went inside the apartment.
Who's we?
Michael and I, sorry. Michael
So
and I
you were
went-
so you weren't staying there. Where had you met him?
We actually met at work. We've been together for a year and a half.
I understand that. But you came home to the apartment together, and that was, I think, on the 7th of July.
Yes.
On the 7th of July. Where had you been? You'd been out. You hadn't been staying in the apartment.
Oh, no, yeah. I was out actually just going to rosaries and stuff like that. I actually went to go pick him up after a family function from work. After picking him up from work, we went back to the apartment, went upstairs.
Was that the first time you had been back to the apartment?
No.
Since you left?
Since I left, I've been there on and off. Like, not on and off, but like every other couple days. But I've been there, not living there, but I've been there spending the night and, you know.
Have you ever, when you were there, have you seen Miss Garrett?
Nope, but I've seen her belongings, though.
Okay. But you knew she was there because he told you that she was there.
Exactly.
So on the 7th, you picked him up, you went back to the apartment, and you've been there before, but you had never actually physically seen her in the apartment.
Correct.
Despite the fact that you knew she was there.
Correct.
Because you had been introduced to her.
Correct.
Okay. And what happened?
So we went upstairs. She seen that I was with him, and I guess that must have made her mad.
No, just tell me what happened.
So there was an argument.
Tell me what the argument was.
I don't even know what the argument was, honestly. She just seen me, and then there was an argument that unfolded about what I still don't know still to this day.
Okay, so now Miss Garrett, they came home, and?
Okay, so them two never came in the apartment together at all that night and previously.
No, just tell me that night.
Oh, that night. So me and Michael discussed that, hey, listen, things are not working out. He has had multiple people in and out his house, and he was making me very uncomfortable, as well as Miss Serrano popping up.
So what do you say? You said multiple people in the house?
Guys, women every night. I would sleep in the park. One night I slept in the park because he had Miss Serrano popping up at 3 o'clock in the morning, her throwing my things around, telling me to get out the house. So I had to go in my car and go sleep in the park. And we had conversations that night when it happened, when she popped up. Hey, can I go sleep?
What date was that?
It was, I want to say July the 2nd or the 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before the 7th?
Right.
Okay. And that's when you went out and slept in the park?
Yes.
Just a second. Mr. Cody, you remember that evening?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And that evening on July 2nd or 3rd, Miss Serrano was around, and they don't get along.
They do not.
Which is exactly what you anticipated.
Of course.
When you invited her to stay with you.
Sadly.
Absolutely right. Going to have two women fight over the prize, the grand prize. Okay. Did you take $750 from her?
No, I did not.
Did you? I didn't ask you with a loan.
Yes,
I didn't ask you. She has proof that she gave it to you.
Yes, she
Okay, so let's not play. Did you take $750 from her?
I did.
So it goes back to her. That's $750. Now we're going to get to what she alleges is the remainder of her lawsuit, which is damages for assault. Okay. On the 7th of July, there was some sort of an altercation. You want to tell me what that was?
Yes.
You did something that annoyed him. You went back to take care of your sick mother, which also attests to his bad character. And then what he does is he invites someone, a woman, to come into the house because he knows that it's going to irritate you. That's exactly what happened. He acknowledges that.
Nashera Garrett has accused her former friend, Michael Kodia, and his girlfriend, Brianna Serrano, of damaging her car and assaulting her.
Now, on the 7th of July, there was some sort of an altercation. You want to tell me what that was?
Yes. So that evening, I went into the house, and he had his witness, Darius, there. And
this person?
Yes. And me and Michael had conversations about him before, and I just thought it wasn't a good influence. So that evening, I walk in the house, and I'm sorry, let me back that up. I asked Michael if he's gonna have men come in the house, could he please be there while I'm there with them? Because I didn't feel comfortable. He said yes. So when I walked in that evening and saw Darius there, I texted Michael and said, Michael, we need to have another talk, because every talk we have, I'm thinking that we're having understandings, but we're not. So, and Darius set up a whole twin-sized bed up in the living room. living room. So I went out to my car. I said, Michael, when you get home, I'm in my car, so meet me in my car when you get off. It was around 8:30 when Michael had came, and I was sitting in my car. Me and Michael were talking, and...
Was he in your car with you?
No. He was outside of my driver's side. So that's when Miss Brianna came, and she started hitting him upside his head, and I tried to get out of the spot that I was in, and next thing I know, my window's down, and she comes and she's attacking me, punching me in my face. She keyed up my car. When she first came up to my window, she keyed my car. Yeah, I can show you.
What? Okay, did you file a police report?
I didn't.
Why?
I just didn't. I took care of my bruises and my scar. I did call 911, but then I hung up. I just didn't. And
Okay. Do you have photographs of your injury?
Yes. There you go.
So what you're telling me is that this was a scratch across your chest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a scratch that was caused by Miss Serrano.
Yes.
And that was in July.
Yes.
Ms. Serrano, I'd like to hear your version of what happened on the 7th of July.
Like I said before, there was just an argument that took place.
That was I want you to
physical.
start the argument from the beginning.
Okay.
Okay. She's outside in her car.
Mm-hmm.
Michael is talking to her at the car.
Oh, yeah.
Did you drive over there or did you walk? How did you get
I
there?
parked my car like in front of the house because they were on the side street. So I walked.
So you walked there?
Exactly.
You parked the car. Now, let me ask you a couple of questions, Ms. Serrano. Did Mr. Codia ever give you an indication that Miss Garrett was no longer going to be living there?
Not that I could recall, no.
Well, I want you to try to recall.
I was told after that whole day went, the day after that, the conversation was going to be for her to leave the house.
Okay. And what were you coming over for? What brought you over there at 8 o'clock at night?
For him.
What do you mean for him?
Well, he left something in my car. He left a charger or something. It was something he left in my car that I was returning back to him.
Did you tell him you were coming over?
Nope. I just popped up.
The answer is no.
No.
You were curious.
Yes, I was. Of course I was.
There you are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
See what's happening to him? This fly is getting vengeance on him.
Not getting on me too.
What the hell's going on? Oh, you got a swapper too? Wow.
I'm waiting for it to come over here. Did you seek medical treatment?
I did not.
Mr. Codia, I'm going to wrap up this case because I really understand it. I believe I understand it. What I don't understand is why, and this doesn't require an answer, it's sort of a rhetorical question, why you would want to take someone who had been a lifelong friend and someone with whom you are having a child and put either one or both of them in a situation so they don't know each other really, so they don't know whether to like each other or whether not to like each other. I mean, I assume that at this point you would, at least Miss Serrano was planning a long-term relationship with you, and she's having a child, and I assume she thinks you're going to be there to be supportive of the child. Maybe. You have other children?
Yes, I do.
How many children do you have?
I have another son.
Okay, how old?
5 years old, 5.
And he lives with his mother?
Yes, he does.
So you see.
Yes. There you go.
This one's a pesky one. I'm usually good at it. I missed it before. I don't know why you would put them in a situation where they would dislike each other all to satisfy your ego.
Wow.
Oh, that's exactly what you did. You put them in a position where two apparently nice ladies, both of whom care about you in different ways, you put them, well, do you care about him?
Yes.
You think she cares about him?
I've never, the entire time I was with
They
him,
just know each other for a long time.
It was way before me, so I guess if you would have put it like that.
And they also went to senior prom together.
Just a second.
Wow, like
I didn't ask you.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I didn't ask you anything. This is not a shout out. What I'm telling you is it goes to his character. He knows her for a long time. They never had a romantic relationship. With you, he's had a romantic relationship. You did something that annoyed him. You went back to take care of your sick mother, which also attests to his bad character. And then what he does is he invites a woman to come into the house, lets you know about it, because he knows that it's going to irritate you. That's exactly what happened. He acknowledges that. That doesn't make him a good guy. So I want you to think about that. But I absolutely believe that you caused a scratch on her, which you can't do. Anyway, Mr. Cody, you owe her $750. And Ms. Serrano, you can't put your hands on anybody, no matter how angry you are at them. And I'm awarding her $1,000 for you putting your hands on her. Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I was very satisfied.
I mean, I know it will cause havoc, but
Different women every night.
I try to keep it in secret.
And that's why we stopped being friends before, but I definitely learned my lesson.
I feel like it's unfortunate. I feel like she manipulated the whole situation.
The friendship is over.
I'm just gonna be a father to my child, man.
After working with you now for almost a year, I'm starting to get so jaded from these cases that I'm starting to think that just staying single might be my best option if these are the alternatives. Yeah. Just blows my mind. He admitted to just pitting an old friend and your fiance, who's pregnant with your child, against each other.
To satisfy your ego.
Yes. Sounds like a terrible idea, was a terrible idea, turned out to be a terrible idea, and it'll land you in court on occasion.
You're right, but rethink that staying single part.
Think about
Hello mọi người, chào mừng mọi người đã lại quay trở lại với kênh của mình và đến với series tô màu tranh. Hôm nay thì cùng mình tô màu cho bức tranh về một cô gái nhá. Đây, một cô gái đeo kính. Hãy cùng mình bắt tay vào tô màu cho bức tranh ngay bây giờ cùng với mình nha. Trước tiên thì cùng mình tô màu cho phần mái tóc nha mọi người. Mái tóc thì mình sẽ sử dụng màu đen để tô nhé. Bây giờ thì mình sẽ tô màu cho đôi hoa tai nhé. Tiếp theo là tô phần miệng. Mình sẽ tô màu tím cho chiếc kính.